actual usability as an app. I was immediately taken back there when I saw this lovely little ticker moving this morning. I mean, yeah, it's like not the most user-friendly platform of all time, but I was also not using it to like actually schedule. Basically, for those who don't know what Dayforce actually does, I can maybe provide a bit of insight on this as someone who's used it. It's basically just for like, they describe it as HR, but it's more for scheduling, for hiring, for onboarding, for training. You can put everything on the platform. You can see your schedule, but it's like not the most user-friendly platform. As I kind of alluded to, when it actually comes to seeing, oh, like, you know, when am I working this day? How do I access my trading? And I would say the mobile version, the app version is like very bad compared to the actual desktop version, which is never like a fun feature for an app to have. So that's my really quick take on Dayforce. I'm aware that's not as much about the buyout as much as it is the product.
That's fine.
But I think maybe providing a little bit of a different spin on this for people who aren't familiar with what it actually does. We'll have to see if this buyout comes out. But yeah, I mean, this wasn't on my radar because I kind of assumed like what Obi said, it would probably behave like a buyout. It actually has, but that doesn't mean we can't break above or break lower later today. That 65 hold, particularly in the morning, looked really interesting.
Thank you, Adira, for that. And with that, Obi and I's time on the midday comes to an end. We throw it to the big boys, and thanks for filling in again, Ob. Friday, you put in a double shift on Friday, my guy,
I'll be here on Friday once again.
You'll be here on Friday? Yeah. Yep, you'll be filling in for the Katina man. I believe, Adira, you're off on Wednesday, right?
Correct.
Correct. So Adira's off on Wednesday, so all hell's going to break loose on the show.
Oh, boy.
We're kidding. Of course, everything will be fine. Have somebody covered, but the big boys are that way. You'll see Obi on Friday for Sean on the Big Show. Take care, guys.
Take care.
Ooh, welcome back, everybody. Ooh, Wednesday, Adira's off. Okay, we'll do some interesting things on the watch list. We'll get a little Mullen on the watch list. Maybe throw in some GameStop on Wednesday. I don't know. We'll just start making stuff up out there that's going to move. It would be hilarious if all of a sudden, like, one of those two stocks actually did something. Well, it could. I mean, GameStop moves with crypto, right? They buy Bitcoin.
GameStop could be something.
It could be a.
Everybody.
No, it could be a thing. Definitely could be a thing. Welcome back, everybody. The market is still sliding lower. There was some stuff in the middle of the day. I guess people were disappointed in the 10% stake.
Yeah, that was the problem. I was thinking it was going down.
Well, how big did they think it was going to be? In Intel, the government in Intel, I should say. I should finish the sentence.
I wonder if some people were just thinking it wasn't going to be, like, we always knew it was going to be a stake. I don't know. Like, I wonder if they maybe just thought, like, an infusion of capital that may not be, you know, share related. I don't know. Like, maybe it was a loan or something like that.
Yeah,
maybe people were looking forward to. But there's the move up and down. And I said to Neil, it's funny because I wrote down on this, like, you know, 2450 right there, and that was we might have spiked up to 87. I mean, we went to that was temporary, but right there, 2450 is a great level for them, and they're climbing right back up. I did feel, and I was sitting here watching this. I don't know. I think I might have been here. Yeah, I think I was here when this was going on, but it was just like, I thought it was overdone to the downside because of what Neil and I are talking about. Like, it doesn't seem like it's horrible news. But, you know, again, you kind of buy the rumor, sell the news. I think that's just a very, very similar trend that we've seen in this market over the last little while. So I think here on Intel, it's something very, very similar again. You know, when you get what's expected, and maybe that is what it is. Maybe the 10% is what was expected there for Intel. So, yeah, coming into play, looks like it bounced off 24 again. Maybe a potential good short there. I think I want to stay away from it for the afternoon just because of this uncertainty. Like, when we can't wrap our head around why it's down that much, maybe it's worth staying away. Like, we can check out
playing
Marvell,
VWAP till it stops.
Things like that. Maybe short Marvell, maybe short SMCI. I don't know. We can figure
SMCI was wild this morning.
Nasdaq is still down.
SMCI was wild.
Yeah.
And it had nothing it was just like there was nothing going on with the chips. Well, I mean, nothing was going on to the upside with the chips is the proper way to think about it. And then SMCI was blowing up. I'm going to play VWAP until it stops being a thing on Intel. It's just whatever. Like, forget about rationalizing it at this point, because I don't think it makes that much sense to me. Like, 10%, you couldn't have been expecting more than 10%, or could you? Like, why would you be? But either way, yeah, play the VWAP. If it breaks out the candle above VWAP, simply get out. But that SMCI, this morning, it's still holding up 1.7%. And obviously, it's holding the volume-weighted average price. The only negative, I mean, if I'm going to call it a negative here, would be that it rejected when we talked about it in the morning, I kind of said 47 would be a fade. Like into here, I think it was 47 was what I was looking at. And then it ends up turning kind of more obviously, I guess, at 46.7. But this still looks like a relatively strong name. You know, if we're going to get going here, maybe this is one. I was watching this sort of trend line, but it failed this break, because I'm like, well, that's not really any good. And here it tries it again. Ooh, I got to go to SoFi for a quick second, because I had a trend break on SoFi. Like, it wasn't an all-day trend. It was like this trend breakdown on SoFi. Triple top at 24. First I was in at 95, but I wanted my price to be 98 with a stop at 5, so risk less than 10 cents on it. But once it took out that 0405, I'm going to jump out of that trade. Looks like SoFi might just be going for it. I'm more bullish today on Robinhood than SoFi, if that's even believable, because Robinhood just looks a little bit better for a long trade. But there's a lot to watch. Market somewhat flat. The only big name we have after market tonight is, it's Palo Alto.
Yeah, a big one.
It's huge.
It's a monster.
You know, PANW, for obvious reasons, like one of the biggest cybersecurity names out there. And why the stakes will be, I think, relatively high here is Fortinet dropped a boat on really not that bad of a report. So PANW, this is pulled back pretty solidly. And my hope would be in this particular case, and I just bought Cyber recently last week, which is one of the ETFs in the space. Like, my hope would be that some of that pullback, with Fortinet, and then PANW's already pulled back in here, gives them some leeway that they won't just get punished for an average report, which has been happening in this earnings season. So, hopefully they're at a good spot here where actually we can run into that 50 period. I just prefer to eliminate the single stock risk by going into cyber here, which has been more stable, which makes sense, right? Like, the ETF's not going to move around as much, and I want to be buying this on dips into the 200 period. It doesn't mean I want cybersecurity names to go down so I can get more of this ETF, but if they do, I will.
All right, we're getting ready. Sharif's going to be at the desk
that's right.
today to do the rundown, and you guys know I bought Palo Alto recently,
Right.
so we're going to hope for a good report, not planning on selling it anytime soon. All right, Sharif, let's go. It's at the desk, and it's your rundown.
Welcome, everyone, to the afternoon rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. You saw the big boys. Well, they're locked, they're loaded, and they're ready to look at the tickers as cited by you. But the only way to get those tickers up there, you got to get in the chat, and you got to vote every day. It's super easy. Throw in that $sign, followed by whatever ticker your heart so pleases. Just make sure to vote every day. Like, share, and subscribe, guys. Here's a look at all four major averages. Only one of them is green on the day, and that is the one on the bottom left of your screen there. I'm covering it up. Andre, if we can, there we go. The Russell 2000, the IWM ETF up 0.37, but that's as good as it's going to get for these major averages, because the triple Q's down 0.16, the ES down 0.08, and the Dow following suit here down 0.12. So a bit of a tougher look on the major averages. We'll have to see how we close out on the day. The first ticker, though, as decided by you, OPEN. You guys saw Sean in this reversion short in the morning, and what a hell of a short it was, all the way down, consolidating now below that 3.5. No real news on it today, but we have seen some bigger players now taking a position in Open Door, as well as this headline, guys. Some technical looks here, a golden cross, a classic bullish signal where the 50-day moving average surged above the 200 SMA. So whatever you think about that, Open Door nicely up on the day.
Golden cross.
I don't think too much about that.
The golden cross.
If you have a golden clock, you better make sure that Flavor Flav's not around anywhere right there. But
Actually,
yeah, I might wear a golden clock tomorrow.
I like that.
The thing is here, Open Door, we had it on our watch early. It was right here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 names on the note this morning, and Open Door was one of them. We said watching the short near this 375. I mean, and that's exactly what wound up happening. And as Sharif so eloquently put there, we waited for it. We got the back end of this trade, let it go all the way to the upside. It started to fade a little bit. We started averaging into it. Then all of a sudden it popped, and we were like, uh-oh, we might get stopped out there at the $4. But then it just trickled down to where we are right now. So I'm actually bidding right here. I think I'll just put a bid at 40. 7s? Yeah, so we're in this bid here in ARCA, waiting to get filled there at 47. Hopefully we can come back. You leave for trades a little bit there. I just think it's overdone to the upside. And we've had its move, and I just think that the money may have came out. I mean, every time we've been up here, obviously we got to $5 at one time, and it respected this level back from December. But whenever you have these topping tail candles, it makes me think that, you know, the traders with sort of exuberance are punching in, and then it's unable to go, so then it just fades back out there, closes the bar, and then we start to do these kind of plays, right? I mean, it's a great trade because it was only $1.80 4 or 5 trading days ago, and now you're up to $3.80. So great trade. I just thought that this name could come out today a bit. We weren't seeing too much volume in the pre-market. We weren't seeing, now it's 309 million shares, but we weren't seeing too much here in the futures either. So to me, it was just like, let it settle down. Our problem is right there. We suffered through trying to go short early right now. Cannabis scheduling. There was just some news here. We'll get it. Doesn't seem like it's doing too much, but we knew that there's supposed to be some cannabis news later on. Yeah, I think it was either tomorrow or something. But anyways, MSOS just in our ear for right now.
Yeah, that's coming.
You know, I don't know. Open Door. I like the stock. Not much movement. Well, a lot of movement. It was up 20% or something, but fading back out a little bit. Yeah, we'll just see what happens near the end of the day. We're not too long this name anymore.
Yeah, it was a great short. What's interesting, I didn't read this on Friday. Well, we read the fact that Paul Tudor Jones was investing in Open Door. What I didn't realize is the things that he was exiting. Because everybody, most people would think, you know, you're going to get into Open Door, you're going to sell Broadcom, right? You're going to get out of Broadcom. You're going to get out of Disney, and you're going to go into Open Door.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you're going to be value investing.
It's very logical. Also, he sold some shares in Bitcoin. Well, not shares. He sold some Bitcoin and some Alphabet. So out of Alphabet, Broadcom, or less of Broadcom and Bitcoin, out of Disney, and also Chinese equities to get into.
I mean, it's a percentage, right? I mean, who knows how much? Thank you about array there.
But a couple of them were it was sell it all, which is interesting. That being said, I'm on Tilray because I thought maybe they also would go on that headline, but they're absolutely not. The thing about this is, though, you have to presume when you do these 13Fs, it's not as if the guy's probably long at worst from 2 to 250, right? In a worst case scenario, he's probably long in here somewhere, and who knows where overall. But at the same time, when you're 20, 30, 40% higher by the time this comes out, and the liquidity is 310 million, you really have to ask yourself if he hasn't already bagged it, or isn't literally in the process of bagging that profit. It's a little different when you have a big investor in a meme stock like this. My gut tells me, how has he not already been profited from this? And then by the time the next 13S roll around, is already trimmed this position heavily? That would be my guess, is to take advantage of the rally and maybe exit stage left. Because the Shreve says it all the time. There are a lot of these, and I mean, technically speaking, it's not a small capper because it's gone so far and it's barely over $2 billion. So I don't know if it fits the definition anymore, but they're around for a good time, not a long time. And we'll find around the next 13Fs. My guess is Mr. Tudor has trimmed a bunch in all this volume.
Guys, Applied Digital APLD up nicely on the day to the tune of 14.75% on this headline, announcing plans to break ground in September of this year on its $3 billion, 280 megawatt AI factory. Boys, they're calling it Polaris Forge 2.
That is a lot of watts.
Look at APM.
Well, this morning there was just a rampant buy program on it at the open, and when it topped out, there was just pretty much this just wasn't a heck of a lot of a bounce on APLD. Good news, of course, on the daily chart. This is not an ugly look. This is not a repeat offender. This is something which has been trending. If you consider this an upward trend from April, but you can go all the way back into last year off these prices. At $3, this has been an effective uptrend. Pull back in, hold, but higher lows the entire way through. So something like that. It's not going to be perfect when you drop it. It's been making the same upward channel without breaking. It feels like maybe that's what it ran into here today at $17. So that'll be the wall, I suppose. $17, at least temporarily. It's pulled back every single time it's done it before. So I don't see particular reason not to respect that 17 level. Volume has dropped off precipitously to expect some kind of a move this afternoon, so it's not really on the radar for myself, but I guess if it gets back up to 17, that's shown you an area where you can fade, or if it happens later on, like when you have a trend line like this, every day away from it, that kind of top of the trend line gets further away. So it's 17 today, but in theory, that could be a little bit higher tomorrow, next week, the next time it pumps into the high. Worth looking for the reversion, I guess.
I wish I had some more trade ideas. Like, I was just looking at Nvidia. I put in a bid to break through 182 if it does get going there. Take out VWAP, take out the 200, take out the 50, have some support down here. There's VWAP there. Go get higher than that. That VWAP, this little high right there is around 182. We're going to get to Nvidia in a minute, but that's a trade that I was looking at, not trying to make something happen, but just wondering, like, these futures here into the afternoon, oh man, you get one little move. I actually got stopped out at some TQs when it made that move up there. And we'll talk about that as we go. But I was thinking about that, and even Apple could be. I wish we had a very negative bias, and it worked so good early on. Today with AMD, $4 or $5, and now I'm just thinking like Apple's maybe coming back in right now, but the futures have to do something. ES and Nasdaq both down 0.18. All right, when this market is like this, you need to find stories that actually work. And regardless of what you think about the company, UNH has been working for the last little while. So let's go over, find out what Sharif's up to, and then we'll talk about sort of some of these levels that we're looking at for UNH.
The green, Sean, UNH on that Friday headline that we got. Berkshire Hathaway adding about I'm not exactly sure how many shares they added. I think about 9 million shares, give or take 5 or something like that. As well as Michael Burry getting contract options at about 350 million shares. And then there was this headline from today, Bank of America Securities raising its price target on the stock from 290 to 325. And last week, UnitedHealth had its best day since 2008, guys. So a nice recovery there, but still keep your eye out on that bigger trend.
Yeah, it's had some. UNH has had some doozies to the downside in the last few months. So it's been a while since it got that bid. One of the things we were talking about on Friday was the notion that, I know it's not necessarily Warren Buffett anymore, but Berkshire has been in the habit sometimes of making a value play on a depressed stock and entering in a position. I think it's like 18th or 19th largest holding UNH after this buy on Friday. The reported buy, because they didn't buy it on Friday, they bought it last quarter. And I don't wonder if maybe this is something that gets added to. So the first thought is, if you see a pattern develop on the buy side, just try to get involved. Now, oftentimes that'll be like price related, so there was no chance for this to test out like 300 again, like where the buying came in Friday morning. It never really got down there. The only play was pull back into prior high and pull back into VWAP, which doesn't really, to me, it doesn't give me any reason to believe there's some kind of a, used to call it like the Buffett support, like on Oxy, and I just don't know that we know that yet, but I'm looking out for anything obvious as a buy support level that shows up on the daily to see where there can be a good spot to hold on to this for more than just day trades and swing trades, things of that nature. It's been back and forth. It just lost the volume weighted average price, which I don't necessarily like today. Unfortunately, it just doesn't have it didn't have that much oomph, I guess. Like really, if you look at the bounce from VWAP on Friday, like it's solid, but it really went like, it was $7-8 there on a $300 stock. That's good, but it's not great. And I feel like the same thing again today. Like it went a little bit off VWAP, but it didn't scream. No test of $320, a little bit disappointing the long today in UNH, if you can say that for a stock which has been climbing the last little bit. It ran better on the rumor that Buffett was buying than it's running on the actual confirmation.
Look, everybody going hard right now at UNH, but what you should be looking at is VinFast. If you do scan that QR code right there, you'll realize that VinFast delivered over 35,800 EVs in Q2 of 2025, marking that a 172% jump from last year. That brings their first half total to more than 72,000 EVs, up over 220% year over year with stronger sales usually in the second half. They're on pace to easily double 2024's 97,000 units. They're also crushing it on two-wheelers, of course, with nearly 70,000 e-scooters and bikes sold in Q2. That is up an amazing 432% from a year ago. And with gas-powered two-wheelers being phased out, get that out of here, in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City by 2026, the growth potential here looks huge. You can find them under the Nasdaq ticker VFS. Thank you to VinFast for sharing all of that information. I mean, this was a good idea. Although UNH is the one that's got everybody's attention right now, we're in this smaller name, of course, Oscar, and we've been talking about this even since it was up here at $21, $22. Then they just came back in. We let it build a base down here a little bit, and then I took the shot before earnings on Oscar at 367, and now we're up to 1650. So it's nicely cooking here. We're just finally breaking through. We're above the 200. We're above the 50-period moving average. No golden clock here, but this one we're clocking some profits. And if this can get above 1750, then we're really laughing. That's my target for Oscar right here around 1750. So we always get questions there in the chat about some of these plays, similarly to Big Bear AI. And I don't want to hear it. Like when it goes to 1750 and I get some out, then it comes back to 1450 and people are wondering what to do. I think that you're getting close to a level here where you may want to take something out. So we're there on Oscar right now. As far as UNH, yeah, I mean, that's just, Neil sort of went over some of those levels. I'm in this smaller name. Let's see if it wants to work. And yeah, I'm in Oscar for a while, and I don't own any UNH shares, but I do own the Dow 30. So I do like the diamonds, and I think that that's going to be, just similarly, I have Nasdaq, S&P, and the diamonds. So I like all of that. It's nice to see that they're one of the only up
positive
markets on Friday. And then what's up to Jam Loki in the chat wants to know what I was talking about the Mary Jane coming through. They get that guy off the screen right there. All right, so here it is right here. Congressional staffers predict cannabis rescheduling, I guess in Virginia access this year. Is that what that means, VA? Safer banking this session. So that's from the Marijuana Herald. So it doesn't seem to be really doing anything there. They just highlight ACB plus 9 other symbols, so it doesn't mean it's ACB related. So we just go over to MSOS all the time, and it looks like it's starting to go. So if they are planning on, meeting about this and rescheduling, I think that that's always, the rumor, and what we want to do, of course, is when you buy the rumor, fade the news. So we'll wait to see when this comes through, but MSOS has had such a huge move in the last 2 months or so. This is June bottoms, $2. You're up to 4, 5, 6 almost. So, a double or a triple there, and I think there's more room to grow on this ETF. All right, back to you, Sharif.
True.
Both guys up about 10 and 3/4%, breaking down below that $10 level, though. Shares are trading higher after the company announced that it's expanded to 360 megawatts of contracted IT load and secured a $6.7 billion in additional revenue. The company also launched a $400 million convertible note offering, and that all precipitated B. Riley Securities to raise its price target on the stock up from 18 to 14, guys, breaking down below that $10 level now, but it was holding it for the majority of the day. What's the look?
What's up, Chris?
It's falling asleep. That was nice chocolate. Guys, thank you to Nimrod.
Yeah.
Got us some chocolate.
I realized I had some dark chocolate left over here from Nimrod. So it's funny because Yuri Pages was like talking about dark chocolate with pistachios and dark chocolate. I said almonds. I said something. I was like, I like my nuts dipped in chocolate, and I was just referring to all kind of nuts.
I mean, nothing like dark chocolate almonds are absolutely delicious. There's really all I can do is try to change the subject.
You can have espresso beans.
Oh my goodness!
Change the subject.
Dude, we had. I don't even remember where.
I'm trying to add some content.
No, it was in Rome. It was in Rome. We got.
Oh man, the pistachios.
Oh no, it was the espresso, the dark.
Oh, the espresso.
Oh
bean.
my goodness. Yeah. That's all you need right there. Honestly, I could just all day.
Yep, I love
all day.
There was one other nut that Yuri Pages put in there. Was it you can dip it? Pecans. He said. I like pecans. They're not my favorite. Pecan pie is okay, but way too sweet now.
I'll have like a little
pie, Joe?
like a little bit. Well, for sure. I mean, the thing is, the guy doesn't like pie at all. My frustration.
He doesn't know if he likes it or not. He never had it before.
Well, to me, if you never tried it, then you're hating on it for the sake of hating on it.
There's a lot of hatred.
You have every opportunity in the world to up your pie game. Apple pie, pumpkin pie is delicious, pecan pie is delicious. Wolf kind of sucked. It should have been a really good scalp trade, but I got up and I'd mispriced my stop, so I lost it. It doesn't matter. It's not like it was an extra 10 cents, but it's like the principle behind it. Because ultimately, like a stock that should have been up, I'm down on it because I was scalping 10 cents, and then instead of like when I'm longing here and risking to there, I literally put it underneath like 982 or 83 or something, instead of up here in like the 990s. And it's kind of sloppy. And then I got up and then was mad at myself when I saw like the stop out there instead of here, and then got in and just kind of rushed the trade off VWAP, and then there's no point. Wolf ultimately has been, unless you had it in the pre-market or running right off the open, which I wasn't looking at Wolf right off the open. And I know some people were happy with it to that long that held at $10, but that's not something I was in. I actually almost think of it the other way, because that long was triple bottom at 990, and it looks like it's breaking down. So I'm thinking the other direction on this. It's made a high, it's made a lower high. The support where this ran from the open at 990 is breaking as we speak. And it's not a huge gap, but 990 to 920, if you do half of that move, you're talking about 3.5% that this could move to the downside, and literally as I speak, it's starting to go and break on through in TerraWolf. So yeah, it just broke down underneath that 990, trending to the downside. I think this stock, whether you call it in the first inning, second inning, or whatever you want to say, it feels like it's at least somewhere in the third or fourth of this move. It's doubled up as of today, so I think a little bit of a step back makes some sense.
I think we bounced off of Tesla there, 333. We didn't quite get into that level there. So, again, with this market just bouncing off VWAP again, we do go back into the money. There's our stop there on TQQs. We do go back into the money here. Was debating getting a little bit more short into the TQQs here, heading into the close. But do we really think this market's going to move around too much? I don't know. I'm not convinced yet. So we're going to sit on our hands and wait to see if we can get a little bit of a better fill. I should take something if it gets back to 93, though, which is pretty much where we got to. Just making sure that we are there, which we are. We're at 92.99. So, yeah, let's wait to see what happens here with the futures. And a lot of what's going to happen with the Nasdaq, anyways, is going to be relied upon this very next name that we have. That is, there's Nvidia. We're getting close to 182. I think I'll still take that break, but then maybe I shouldn't be short the futures, right? All right, let's go hear the story about Nvidia, and then we'll decide what we want to do.
Yeah, up 0.75% here, Sean, or thereabouts. Nvidia getting an upgrade today. Well, not really an upgrade, maintaining the overweight rating by Cantor Fitzgerald, but boosting that price target from 200 to 240 on Nvidia. Separately, obviously, there was the issue with China, with the senators writing a letter to Donald Trump advising him not to sell the H20 and the MI308 to the Chinese for fears that they might be used by the military. Obviously, responding, Donald Trump disagreeing with them, guys. But there it is, Nvidia up 0.75%.
Okay.
Yeah, well, of course they disagree with it. What's interesting is
I'm getting out.
How it's the difference in opinion with regards to those chips to China, depending on who happens to be in power. It's like you didn't say anything. These Democrats didn't have the same concern in the previous administration, but all of a sudden it's a bit of an issue. It's the nature of the game. Long way. It's a short-winded way of saying that I don't know how big of a deal that this little note and is going to end up mattering. I think ultimately you're talking about a major bargaining chip between the U.S. and China. So China is going to play the game of, well, we don't want our firms using these chips anyways, because they know they actually do want them, because they want to maintain their standing in the AI race, that's the race right now, and everyone's trying to win. And the U.S. wants to make sure they're making money off of China while also keeping them dependent on their supply chips. And then it's good for NVIDIA as well, the 15%. I mean, whatever goes into the treasury and who knows where it goes, can't hurt military spending. You give the government more money and it's just like, yeah, military spending will probably be good. But I actually like SMCI this afternoon. Call a spade a spade. Like this one, I'm hoping it can go into VWAP and bounce, but it was the strongest of the chip names that I watched. So for this afternoon, I'm looking at this one here today, up 1.6%. And I love what this is doing. Well, sorry, like what this is doing on the 15-minute since earnings. It's made the low, wipe out bottom, hasn't really broken too far away from this first resistance at 46.75. But even a break of trend here gets you 46.25 into 46.75. So there's nice room for this chip name in the afternoon. And you know what? Like, it wouldn't be the first time we saw if NVIDIA breaks out, then this can drag it with it. I just think there's an opportunity here for SMCI to go a little bit in the afternoon. All
right, so I just want to tell everybody I'm not going short the Nasdaq anymore. I just covered that last play. I don't want to short a dull market. Someone in the chat, and I think you're right. It's we could short. I mean, if it gets up to here, it's a completely different story. But to sit here and watch sort of the market tick up and then just keep on going higher, I don't know. There's not really enough negative news. There's no catalyst really to be sparking this thing. So I'm actually going to go over to Nvidia, the big trade for me today was AMD. So that's going to be the number one P&L name. It's obviously not even close for me. There goes AMD. We're out of it. Well, I should just punch out of this because I don't really care anymore. Such a small piece, but we're looking for Nvidia. So AMD was a great short off the open, but Nvidia for right now, I'm locked and loaded. So 5 more cents, we're going long. So 182 break, we're going to go long here on Nvidia. We've got enough protection here. We've got 181.50 is all the way down here with the 50-period moving average and the 200-period. Plus we've taken VWAP plus we're now. Let's go 5, 6, 7, 6.5 days away from Nvidia earnings, market days, of course, and we talk about next Wednesday. So, just a matter of time before Nvidia once again goes back to all-time highs. And, I could see it being, again, bought up into the print and then sold off after that. So, here's it getting bought up. Maybe the day starts now. We'll see. When we get to 185, if we're there tomorrow, I think that's a great breaking spot long as well. But I could see it getting bought into the print and then a sell-off after that. I can go find what day back here in March or April that they had their earnings. I guess they're late always, but I bet you it sold off of that. And not much has changed with Nvidia. So again, I still like the name, I like the stock, but I'm going to go long on the break right there. I'm not selling any of the Nvidia that I own. Just like I'm not selling. I mean, maybe I'll sell some Palantir, but definitely not selling any Nvidia. Last time we bought this was $100, and it's done really well. And the sell-off for Nvidia has already happened this year. We talked about that earlier. You've already gone from the highs of this year of 152. You sold off about 80% down, I guess. You went down to, 152 high of the year. It got down to $80. So we got sold off. We got chopped almost in half already this year on Nvidia. So it's time to go, man. I mean, you already had your dip buy opportunities this year. If you get another one, maybe on earnings, great. Like we saw Google go down there and then get bumped up a little bit on earnings and now trying to take out even higher highs. Right there, you saw Amazon come down off earnings and retake some of those levels as well. So I could see that happening here. This is the Amazon trade off earnings, boom, right down in and gave you back to, let's just say June levels. So, again, Amazon's going to be a little different than Nvidia, of course, but, it does not break the 200-period moving average. So if we go over to Nvidia and do a similar look and we say, okay, where's the 200-period moving average here on Nvidia? And what a surprise, it brings us right back into June again. So, something back into here. I don't think we're going to 140 or anything, but, if you do get a drop down, obviously it's these areas right here that we look to try to preserve capital to buy on those opportunities. So yeah, we're excited for that, for Nvidia in a couple days away, but it'll probably be the only trade that I'll get into. Well, I don't want to say probably, it's 235. Anything can happen here in the next little while, but Nvidia is definitely going to be the first trade that I get into because it's going to happen right now as we break through 182. So my order's ready to go. We've canceled everything on the TQs. Remember, we punched out of that, which was a great idea. We got out at 80 and 82 right there, so that was good, and now we'll wait to see for our long on Nvidia that's coming in momentarily, I guess, and then we'll just wait. It's going to be like half a unit play. If it tanks down and we really do like this down into here for some reason, then we can buy it as long as the market still stays healthy. But yeah, I like Nvidia. It's about to go up through 182. I'm going to try to take that shot. So,
a little closer.
Yeah,
closer,
that's what's happening right now.
A little closer.
Keep it coming, Fabian. Keep it coming.
Yeah, exactly. Just be safe on that ladder there, Fabian. We got 3 super chats to get to. ABIJ, asking about FIGMA. Cindy wants to know about FGEN. And Willis Addison wants to know about CORV. The CORV one just came in, but I was sort of ready to go on the first 2. So we'll handle FIGMA and FGEN for sure. I was going to start with FGEN. I was just fixing my chart up for FIGMA. FGEN, squeeze alert. this is one of these, technically, you can see it stair step up. You can see it hold the highs. I was just talking about a name that was doing something similar, right? Where you have kind of a trend to the top, and all it does is today on a 21% move, it's going to end up finding that same trend high and catching a little bit of rejection. That being said, it's really not that bad. So they announced the approval of the sale of FibroGen China to AstraZeneca. That was finalized. That's obviously going to be good news, but it hasn't pulled really too far back off of that top, which makes it, I don't know. There's not going to be any volume here. That's the sort of the thing. And I don't wonder if you're if I was swinging this and it got to a trend high when the news hit, like personally, I'd be taking profit. Although I've had people keep on telling me that you shouldn't sell things at the top, but that's just not my cup of tea. So I like to do that when you get a big gain. And to me, you get the news come out, you get the trend high, light volume, you take the money and run in a situation like that. And then going over to what hasn't been a long-lived name. The thing about FIGMA, you have to remember, the other names that went nuts in this IPO bonanza, whatever we're calling it, this hot run, there's a lot of crypto stuff, right? Like you had, CoreWeave was chip related, but Circle and Bullish, like that's part of the crypto phase. FIGMA wasn't really in that group. And so I'm not sure why we even I don't even know that I did, but I'm not sure why we expected FIGMA to have more oomph outside of that opening print, because it's been just falling back the entire way. And the question was, you bought it $100 on FIGMA. So like on the way back in, my first thought would be, well, what was the plan when you bought it 100? Like, were you looking to give it to the low? Because it broke the low, like the initial low that it put in. That would have been 15% worth of risk if that was your trade. But now it's well underneath that, and it's been cracking lower ever since. So again, you have to have your own strategy. Personally, if I'm buying something in front of the low, I'm getting out when it breaks the low. But I don't see what gets this going again, outside of the fact that it's holding on to, it's doing its best to hold on to this bottom around $76. But it doesn't look very healthy, and it wasn't in the space that was going ham either on the IPO. So I'm not sure why we were expecting it to do like continuation the way CoreWeave did, continuation the way Circle did after the first couple of days. I just see a downward trending chart, something that's looking to figure out where it should be priced. Maybe you got to wait until an earnings report, but it's already broken through what would have been the prior low when you got into it at 100. So I don't see anything really positive with FIGMA yet. I mean, anything can happen once they finally report something. And then the other side of it is what happens when the lockup expires too. Like, you're going to have to deal with that as well, coming in, like a few months. So yeah, I'd be pretty negative on that stock.
Yeah, I'm pretty negative on pretty much all of these IPOs, to be honest with you. But we could talk about them individually, of course. I mean, you can look at Chime is a different one. We had that Fly was one.
And then we got thing coming out. The
Gemini one?
Gemini, yeah.
I don't think I'll be taking that one, to be honest with you. All right, so there it is, right back into VWAP. So we'll take out the out on AMD and close the trade and just stay bang on that one. So again, my number one stock here holding me the whole day, AMD. We'll take it out right now because I want to go long on Nvidia. So we've already sort of talked a little bit about that. I did want to say we have this GDRX, so GoodRx today, with a huge move, right? Surging over 40% at one point, but still up 38% right now. GDRX announcing partnership to sell Wegovy and Ozempic pens at a narrower price of just $4.99 a month. Again, I have no idea what Hims or Hers or what any of these things are actually sold with them, but GoodRx today getting into that game, I guess, or at least announcing a flat pricing of $500. So yeah, huge move to the upside there for GDRX. And now I think it's a little vulnerable to possibly come back in, starting to get a little lower here, taking out the 200 period right now. I'd still like to see it underneath VWAP, but I think a break of this 495, which a little ways away, but it can get there. And then the other reason why is if you're looking at the chart, coming right back into there, haha, funny guy. But right here, 516, 515 again. But yeah, this move right here, 520.
Yummy.
Again, we came right into that area. So I would say this is a short right now. And look, I like the stock. I think a lot of you that either took the shot on that. We dropped this news with you early on during the opening show when it came through. And I was like, oh, there's something here. GDRX, we talked about it, and there it goes. And of course, it stops right in that area. So again, great trade. Congratulations, all of that. There, yeah, there is a black pool right behind my head. This is literally about 6 inches away. So if I do anything, you see me knocked out here, it's fine. Just hopefully my head doesn't hit the keys and punch me in anything. So if I fall flat on my face, just notice if there's any new positions coming. Okay, so we do have the TQs. We did get out of that trade again. We could have shorted 93. That was the call. We were waiting there for 93s, and we could have had them, but again, we covered right around this area into the 80s because I'm still thinking that the market wants to get a little bit higher here afternoon. So we'll wait to see if that's the case. It is pulling back in right now. There's not enough happening right now. Someone's calling me, and I have no idea who it is, but like it doesn't normally come up with a name like that. Rahul? Who's Rahul? No.
Nah, whatever.
That one seems
that's a little shady.
That one seems a little shady to me. Right there. Okay, so that's the TQQs. We're going to wait for that one.
There was the last super chat. I think.
Oh yeah, there was CORV.
There was the third one. That was CORV.
Okay. Yeah, we can talk about CORV really. I just wanted to say, like, so we had those today. We had UNH moving around. We have Dayforce acquisition talks again for Dayforce, so they're moving around up 20% today as well. Intel goes up and then goes down on that Nasdaq news, and of course this is on the Nasdaq, but this is news of President Trump and the administration, I guess, not President Trump, but your U.S. government taking a 10% stake. And we maybe have to go to Adair for that one because I'm not even sure if that was Scott Besson who wound up saying just the Intel news, was that confirmed? It is the 10% or?
That was reported by Bloomberg. So there's no, I guess, clarification on that. But yeah, initially it popped up on this, then it popped down. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean,
All right. So
to me, that's not so. Like, that's not firm.
No, that's why I was wondering about. Like, I wanted
to explain why it did that little dip.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about it if it was confirmed, but again, if that's it, Bloomberg probably had the same report on Thursday or whatever it was, Thursday after hours. So we'll wait. I think you got to wait for confirmation.
Well, you know what they do. It's the newest game now. This whole the reason why you get old stories like this is simply like you'll have a news story and then the stock will be doing something special. So Intel's like relatively strong on a day, let's just say, and then there's no headline, so they'll just take an old headline, jazz it up a little bit, or just reprint the exact same thing. So anyone searching for that stock that's moving or doing something that day pops up with this story. And that's why you will come to Adair and she'll like, that's an old story. And it's why it's important, because I feel like you see that 10 times more often now where you get these old.
Yeah, I mean, they just want these clickbaits, but.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Okay, we told you we'd get into a position there if, when. Well, the if and the when happened. So if it breaks, we will get in to this, and when right now. So there it goes. It did break, and we're into Nvidia. It only went as high as 182.08 or something there. We got long at 01s, so or 01. Yeah, it's 01 half. It's rounded up. So anyways, we're long, and it could come back down. I told you it's only half unit. So we had about 2 and change units there on that first AMD trade, so it still wasn't that huge. I was wondering if AMD was even going to go a little bit higher than where we got in, but there goes NVIDIA. I do have another bid down here in the 70s in case it does come back into view up. I could see that. The thing is, it was coiling up there a little bit and then the pop, so I actually liked the trade when we started the show, which is like at 2 o'clock down here, because what I did was just sort of zoomed out and said, okay, we like the stock. It's up 1% today. It's much greater than the market. So if the market wants to keep going, I think we're in the right space. We're in the right name. We have earnings in a couple weeks. We talked about that 6.5 days away. Here goes Nvidia. We're going to go long that name, above view up, above the 50, above the 200. But you can always fall back in. So we're going to watch out for this 200 break, which will be 45s or 50s. It's probably going to be at 50 by the time we go. So I don't have the stop order in yet, but we might as well. So I think that's going to be, again, a pretty good play for us. Let's wait to see if NVIDIA wants to work. First target, I mean, I'd like to take profits somewhere first. This little area right up into here, that's 40s. So I don't know. We'll just trade it as we see, right? I don't, like, what is that? That's 30, 25s. All right, let's get something out at the quarters just because we always do. Let's put out 10% at 182.25. Hopefully that will fill us up there and we'll get out of 10% and we'll let the rest ride. And if it does come back in, we'll average into that as well. So that's what we're doing right now. We have NVIDIA, Open Door, and NVIDIA are the only 2 trades I have. And and I'm going to give it back to Neil, but we only have right now 10%, less than 5% left of open door. Like we left, we went to the gym, all this kind of happened, we came back, we saw all this action, so we started getting filled here because that was the bottom, so we pretty much took it all out. When we started to break higher, we got even more out right there at 45 and 50, but yeah, man, so we short this name and it comes right back in. Open door, very positive name. I think it's probably P&L number 2 here today, but yeah, again, I like the trade. We'll have to watch out for open door. We'll still short it as the door is still open on this trade, but I'm going to close it if it gets down into this 345 again. All right, NVIDIA, see if you can do something here. Yeah,
speaking of close it, I did close Wolf. Bounced right off that 950. It was at, so remember the flat bottom break at $9.90. It broke pretty cleanly, got 87, took some out in front of 70, and then got all, when it bounced off of 50, that's an easy out. Like if you're going from 10 to the quarter, check that, to the 3/4, and then to the $0.50, and it bounces off the $0.50, that's an out for me 10 times out of 10. I'd love to reload this at $10 if we can. Is that another chocolate?
You want another one?
How many are in there? I'll take another one. But we have that core weave, and I meant to get to this. I wanted to make sure I got to the, told you that I'm getting out, but I do want to get back in if we come to VWAP.
I like your hair, by the way.
Core weave just did a bit of a dive through the low of the day, loses $100 again. The puts printing. Willis Addison, I know you're short.
Oh, shit.
What's good about this? Well, what's good about the short, I should say, that prior support around here at like 103, 104, that's exactly where it turned to. Turn right into that.
Why are you so fancy?
This is trend back to the low.
Port date or something?
Let's go to Adara.
Oh, you came from the airport.
The earnings tonight. The company is expected to post earnings of 89 cents per share, revenue of $2.5 billion. But ahead of that, why not take a look at this infographic here on X at TTV Research? This is the company's annual revenue growth since its IPO in 2012. You may not know they actually debuted on the NYSE before moving their listing to the Nasdaq in 2021. You can take a look at this on X at TTV Research, and let's see if they beat or if they miss. But regardless, you can check that out with Neil and myself at 4 p.m. Eastern on our market recap show. The Palo Alto earnings are expected to come out at 4:05 p.m. Back to you.
Palo Alto, and yeah, I took advantage of that dip down, although it's still underneath the price I last bought it at. I think I bought it at 180 or 280. What the hell is Palo Alto's price at now? Something 80 is where I recently bought this. 180. Okay.
Well, it's got to be. Better be 180.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's what I was gonna. I was just like,
if you bought it at 80, we got problems.
If I bought it at $80, it was either 280 or 180. It was definitely not there. But yeah, Palo Alto falling down. I mean, the numbers today, Adara gave them to us, as she had just mentioned here. Palo Alto looking for 89 cents. Obviously, they're making money. Don't worry about this drop down. That's just our charts here. Maybe I could zoom that in a little bit. All right, so EPS of 89 cents, revenue estimate 2.5 billion. I think that number seems light to me. Implied move of 7.9%. So again, you never want to catch that falling knife, but there it comes down. We had that miss on Zscaler, Fortinet as well. Yeah, so I like Palo Alto, and I always remember there was some concern when the one time they were reporting on a Friday, and everyone was like, oh man, they're reporting on a Friday, there must be something wrong, hey? But there was nothing wrong at all.
It was because they had moved it. That's what people.
But 8% is, I don't know. I mean, I think it can move more than that.
Well, after what Fortinet did, I'll believe anything.
Maybe we can put up a poll. Does Palo Alto move more, 20 plus or minus? 25? Yeah, I just think it's like a nice space. It's there's definitely some news around it right now. So I like PANW tonight. I think it's worth it. The thing about taking a shot on this kind of a play is if you actually buy the shares, even if it goes down, like it's such a higher quality company that I think that you can use your 3-day rule or something like that. If Palo Alto gets hit on earnings tomorrow, and I'm not trying to give advice to say, hey, we got to pile into this thing. I'm not doing it, but it is a good quality name that if you did want to get some exposure in the space of cyber. I mean, Neil was talking about there's different ETFs as well. This is not a horrible place to be. We got to go over to Neil right now, but we are 17 cents in the money. Before
we do that, I just look at what happened to Fortinet. Like you waited one day and it was a buy. Like you literally buy it the next day, and Fortinet's been up the entire time. So good look there. It eventually like $5-6, so you could have got like 7 or 8% in a couple of days on Fortinet. And Palo Alto is a better company. I don't think it does what Fortinet does, but certainly it could be exciting if we do dip down. But there is exciting news for Canadian traders who are sophisticated And that's Beta Pro by Globex Canada launching 6 new triple leveraged ETFs, offering 3 times bull and 3 times bear exposure to the S&P TSX 60, semiconductors, and U.S. Treasuries. And even better, they're offering a special fee rebate, dropping management fees to just 65 basis points until end of the year, this year, 2025. These ETFs also employ currency hedging to seek to neutralize the U.S. dollar exposure, providing performance that may more accurately reflect the underlying U.S. equity indices. If you're a tactical, sophisticated trader looking to amplify your performance, check out betapro.ca 3x daily to learn more. Scan the QR code you see out in front of you. And it doesn't have to be the bear that they show there. You can be bullish and take advantage. So, yeah, if we get an opportunity to dip into Fortinet, I think if I've sort of picked I own Palo Alto, I own CrowdStrike, but I've elected that I want to buy cyber on dips. It's been really, oh my goodness. Load PC, load letter. That's
go NVIDIA right now. Here, while you're waiting for that to load.
It's CIBR. It's annoying because cyber is the other one. That's CyberArk. That's the one this is the one that I picked up. And if it dips, I think it's an easy. I just don't want to, this is not going to rinse me if Palo Alto does something nonsensical. And I already own enough PANW, so I want my exposure to start going into an ETF instead. And this one owns more Palo Alto and CrowdStrike than Hack, which a lot of people like to look at.
All of y'all are welcome, and I just do Katina salute to all of you guys as well, because there it is, man. There's 30 cents in the money for NVIDIA, so it's still going. We're only out of 10% of this trade, so we're thinking we're at about 12%. We're going to see if it goes out. I did get some out at 20. Here we go. So we're starting to, okay, now here's 33, 34s, starting to go up a little bit higher. Let's get out of another 5% or so at 35 if we're lucky enough to do that. And then we'll sort of start to get a little bit happier now because we were starting to go higher. And remember, this is still a dead market. It's still still Christmas time, by the way. Happy Christmas to everybody. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
To you and yours, of course. Thank God it's not
whatever.
Christmas in my house, because the amount of gifts that would be floating around would probably bankrupt me. But 182.40s right now. Marissa just went to go pick up her hockey equipment. She got new bag, new warm-up stuff. Her jerseys are coming tonight. They're dressing up the dressing room, and they're going to have a big jersey reveal tonight for all the girls. She's got new pants. She hasn't had new pants in years, and obviously she's gotten way bigger now. New skate. We need to have trades like this. So shout out to the traders out there hitting the keys with me, because there it goes right now to the upside. There goes NVIDIA. I mean, I planned this out pretty much as clean as we could have right there. I said that we were going for a 182 break. We weren't panicking about this trade at all. We took it. It went against us 10 cents or something. And now you're up in the money 40 cents. So congratulations to all of you guys out there. We back in the building right now. But I'm only back for 4 days. And then 4 days next week. And then 4 days and 4 days and 4 days. As many weeks as possible as we take some Fridays and Mondays off. What's up, Adara?
Trump's just greeting these European leaders here at this event with the European leaders and, of course, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Right now, he's just kind of introducing and naming everyone. We're going to have to wait and see what happens at this meeting. I'll be covering this for you. If anything market-related takes place, I will let you know. There wasn't too much market moving that happened at the previous meeting with Zelensky, which is about an hour and a half ago. But I'll let you guys know, of course, if anything major happens here. Back to you.
Thanks, Adara. And who knows if anything is going to move the markets. I think if you're looking at that meeting, probably, nat gas going to be affected. Oil prices maybe a little bit. Certainly, that's where you're looking. And we want positive news. We want the war to end. Clearly, I just don't think it's not going to matter to the chips. Not going to matter to the Qs. Ultimately, you wish that's how the world worked, but even if you was to enter a war right away, you'd be looking at defense names and you'd be looking at some energy. For sure. So I'm jumping right back in. We want Wolf. Look, I said I like Wolf to flip short. It already flat bottom broke once, 990 down to 950. It just bounced back in that 3/4 mark, right? So effectively 990, $10, right? 950 comes to the 3/4 mark and then curls again. That's 975. So pick that one up, 975. I want to give it to the prior low, which is actually 82. So I want to be out if it gets to 982. And when I say the prior low, I don't mean the pre-market. I mean after the open, the prior low was actually $9.82. So that's what I want to give it to, and then see if it can't press back into that 950 zone. A little bit of a rinse and repeat action there. I did notice Tesla's trying to triple top it to the upside as well. Not really the same juice that it had the first time it went in, but it is still going. Tesla looking real strong, 1.5% to the upside. Would love to see it break out, but I don't necessarily want a breakout trade on it. The way it's been rejecting up here at 335, I think Tesla's more of a dip buy trade. So I'm looking for, I mean, ideally you pull back into where there was consolidation, like 334.5, that or the volume weighted average price, like there, maybe down in there if we get some kind of a dip on Tesla. So I got that level 2 up, obviously Wolf, SMCI if it breaks trend, still have that one set. SMCI, if it breaks trend, would be a breakout above that high right in there, and then back into TerraWolf, which I just feel like the stock has turned it. And when a small capper, or small capper, decides to lose the volume weighted average price in the afternoon, a lot of times you can just see the trend back into the downside. Was a long earlier, I didn't really long it till here. It had what was a sloppy stop out that turned me more red than I should have been on the stock, because it should have been green. But let's go to the short side here. 75 short, we'll get some out when it goes about 7-8 cents in the money. We're risking about 5, so I want to make sure we get better than that 1-to-1. And if it gets back to VWAP, I might, if it breaks 80 and gets to VWAP, I might try it at $10. But that's 2 separate trades. We'll make sure that this one does not go absolutely ham. Or Alpha saying open is blasting. It is?
Blasting a little bit, yeah.
This is a thick stock. It's done like, it's weird. This morning, it felt like it was going to do, oh man, this thing could do like 700-800 million in volume by the end of the day. Boom. But it's 350. It's not like it stopped doing volume, but it did taper off quite a bit. But that's a nice little ramp up. What you like to see, and you guys can see that here, like volume is increasing as it's trying to bounce higher on open door. So I guess the door is open for this one to break out $4 today. I'll put it solidly on the maybe. I don't know if I want to move. If SMCI loses VWAP, I might throw this one up on the side chart. But I want to show you something on the level 2 for open. Even as it's going up, like you're seeing this every few levels where someone just multiple gateways are jamming like size on the offer, and that's at 80. It's at 80. And then you'll see the same thing at 85. So there's a lot of chunk selling on the way upside in this, which might slow it going into the high of the day. Like you want to see those maybe bring it down a bit and then join the long instead of chase this thing after it's already, like this is run from the lows, what, 20% almost? Not right, not quite. More like 15% from the bottom. That's pretty solid already. It's only up 19% on the day. So it's almost got the whole thing right back in here. I don't know that that's one I want to chase. Maybe buy a little dip if you can. But for now, I'll have that SMCI order on because that's been a relatively strong name. And Wolf, kind of going sideways. But I don't mind if this one's a bit boring because it's sliding lower, which is fine by me.
All right, I mean, I've traded Open Door today. It's the number 2 P&L name across the show's platform. P&L doesn't matter. I'm just telling you that this is what we've done right there. We've made money. We have very little shares left, so that's why the fact that it's ripping up here is what it is. We are out of 40% of Nvidia. I think this is more important. This is actually a guided trade right now that I sort of was talking about earlier on today. Yeah, look, so Nvidia, it's stopping in and around these levels where we've had memory before. Remember, like this is the open. It was struggling, ripped up into that level, and then made the move back down. So for me right now, I'm not overly excited about potentially more longs right now in Nvidia. It is starting to fade back out a little bit. There is, of course, more news about Zelensky's talking. They've talked about security guarantees. They've talked about, different things. I don't think that that's going to affect the market whatsoever, the Zelensky Putin news. But we are in power hour, and hopefully we can get the power going on these trades. So we just got another piece right there, just right now at 26s. So we are starting to fade back out again. We're only long at 01s here on Nvidia, but a bunch of outs here, mid 30s, and that's about it. So that's it for me. We could cover some open door in and around this area. Let's just see what you guys want to do right now. I'm going to reset this. So this is our board here. We've gone over this again about how you do it. So I'm going to give it a fresh start right now. You got to go into the chat. And if you're part of our chat right now, thank you so much for doing that. Make sure you do hit the like and subscribe. Only way to be in here so much. Yeah, so there it is. The more effed my hair gets, the larger the legend. Yeah, you're right about that one as we sit here and play with all of that. So thank you so much. Google right there, Roblox. Roblox having some issues of their own. We could talk about those in a couple minutes. All right, so we'll wait for what's going to happen. But this is what's going to happen. You guys are going to load this up in a couple minutes. We're going to think about which names are the hot ones that you want us to look at here. If I just pause this right there, see, leaderboard paused. Fabian said this could not be done. 10 minutes later, done. AMD right there, down 1%. So thanks for that, Fabian. Oh, you guys want to talk about a ray? Yeah, that was a ray of sunshine for us today. We had a monster morning where we went 4 for 4, and we've basically been sitting in these trades. We've added Nvidia to that 4 for 4 day, Neil, by the way, and that's a banger right there. I'm sure that we can get even higher than right now, but I'm going to take another piece off right here at 42 if we can, because we are just getting a little bit of a move higher right there. But what I want to talk about was this array. You guys talked about this and what it's doing right now. We have this written down on our sticky note right there at $8. So it broke early. It came right back in. My best outs are unfortunately $8.25, and then we hold each one of these 10%. We hold our last 10% until it breaks through $8 and wind up getting out. So we'll stop a fail on our last piece right there, but still a positive stock for us today. ARRY array on the solar plays there today. So yeah, man, if you've been following, it's a very green day here for me, but we're just happy to be able to trade with you guys and to be able to discuss some of these opportunities. I don't know if the guys on the midday are green or not, but I think it was a good show. There's Nvidia right now. Did we just get that at 41? I'm not sure. Let me just double check. Yep. Yeah, that's the only offer we had. So we don't have any more offers. Actually, we got it 2 minutes ago when it was first up there. So there's our fill there at 41. And yeah, let's just let this thing go, man. Now 40 cents in the money, a pretty good trade. Thank you so much to Skunk Funker there in the chat. Don't get too skunky on us right there. But yeah, so far so good here as we continue to trade and hopefully prove our worth a little bit. Right here, you guys can easily ask us. And again, we trade completely different. I've only traded 5 or 6 symbols as opposed to Neil, I think a little bit more than that. Robinhood, Sunrun, AMD. So if I unpause this right here to see what you guys want to talk about, those are the names. But hey, 10 companies account for 40% of the S&P 500. So when we look at SPY and things like that, it's going to be those 10 names. We can all name them right now if you wanted to. You can start putting them in the chat. But these mega cap, huge, tech-related names continue to lead the way. So as the ES and Nasdaq both get back to zeros, no surprise that they're moving so much more right now back and forth between the Nasdaq and the SPY. Even Bitcoin right now is starting to go back up. That's 11,600, so that's pretty good. Again, today there's a lot of M&A buzz here with GoodRx, with Wegovy getting a deal done there with Novo Nordisk, and then Dayforce surging as well. We do have stocks like Walmart coming through this week with earnings, and Target and Home. The one I like the best is Home Depot. They're coming through this week as well. So that could be something there as people are trying to front ride these names. I mean, what a big move down there for Walmart, honestly. From 104 to 100, 4 or 5% dip. That might be worth taking some consideration. Costco, I don't know when their earnings are. I feel like they're already passed. But Costco right there, they've had a dip down once it loads up of themselves. Right there, pretty dramatic, actually. You went from 1060 top there down to 910. So you lost more than 10% there on Costco. If that's probably a buy down there as well. And the name that I think has the most juice to the upside, I'll give you another call here, man. We gave you Oscar, we gave you Apple, we gave you Bull, we gave, I don't know, many different names. PANW, we'll see what tonight is. But I think Target has a good chance to go, man. A decent shortfall for Target, plus the dividend that's there. I like Target. I think it can go. But there goes Nvidia, man. There it is, finally. Hey, we're just enjoying life right now with NVDA. 50% left, and it's still starting to go upside. So there goes NVIDIA. 182.50. Again, I hope you guys have this. It was a pretty clean break. Thought we discussed it really well. There it goes. Neil shorting Wolf. I'm long NVIDIA. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 names today for me. And right now, we're running the gauntlet. So far, so good. We'll see what happens at this 182.80 mark right there. That's going to be the next stop for us on NVDA. So far, so good.
Yeah, someone in the chat's like, shorting Wolf is wild. I don't think it's wild. I just think it's the stock rolled over, man. So it's one of those, yeah, like what are you going to do? Like the stock made the high in the morning, and since then, lower high, broke down VWAP, and then we just got another lower high to jump back in. Hey, at this point, if it breaks back above my entry, I can always get out of it. But, you know, the market's not moving. It's a $10 stock that already gave a 40-cent move once. So why can't it do like 20, 30 pennies? Again, you can get a couple points on that. And we pay for locates here at Real Trading, so we have the ability to go short for essentially free on this bad boy. So, you know, at the end of the day, just play the trend. The trend is your friend for sure. Like and we even said this earlier, like I still think this is like on a higher time frame. Like if I was, let's just say I was swing trading and I don't own any Wolf, I don't own TerraWolf, I haven't thought about owning TerraWolf, but if I was in it, I'd still be pretty bullish on the move in general. Like it's kind of a bull flag. It has yet to pull back and test a prior high, which is one of my favorites on an uptrend, pull back into the prior high, see if it can bounce. If it can't and goes red, maybe that's a reason why you'd get out. It was just a simple flat bottom break. Like a stock sits there with the same level of support for the entirety of the day, and it breaks that support, so look for the short. And, you know, to each your own, like it broke 990 clean at that point, and then it's put a lower higher in right at 75 after bouncing off that 50 level. But there is something that we opened this morning talking a lot about what was going on in crypto. There's a lot of big pullbacks in crypto. You know, Bitcoin made that high, we tested that 125, and I want to say it's not a panic. It's not a panic level that we have to worry about here, but we are pulling back into what could be some big or interesting support at the 112K level there for Bitcoin. And when you look at some of the numbers, and thankfully we're nice enough to get a nice little graphic here, we pull back into 115. On the macro side of things, just to be able to visualize it, when we had that inflation surprise, what ended up happening, we got doubts about whether or not we're going to get that Fed cut, right? And now all of a sudden we're going into Jackson Hole, where maybe we're going to have a little bit less certainty than the market is pricing in when it comes to this cut. Like the market still thinks 80%. If you listen to what is coming out of Fed speakers and Jerome Powell with mixed numbers when it comes to labor and that PPI, then you would think that maybe it shouldn't be as high as it is. That being said, we had 570 million in liquidations, over 130K traders. 123 million of that was in Bitcoin, and there was even more in ETH, 178 in ETH. And I think that makes sense. Like ETH has been flying out of control going into those highs, so it makes a lot of sense that there's a bunch of that you had some of those liquidations going through. So at the end of the day, I think it was a healthy time for a pullback. What you really would hope is in the event that we get more uncertainty around that cut, that we get some actual strength where people want to own Bitcoin and it starts catching bids because of that uncertainty instead of the other way around. Like that's what I would like it to be. Like I want that moment where it's not like hey, we go risk off and Bitcoin goes down. No, I want that moment where people get uncertain about what the Fed is doing and they buy Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. Like if anyone's like whatever, like it's the whole idea of like, oh, more money printing and it's supposed to be the safe asset. That's not how it trades, and that's fine. It still made people lots of money. But the transition that I would like to occur in the behavior of Bitcoin, you're still not really seeing it yet. Every now and then it happens, but in a general sense, it's still not there yet. It's still just a risk asset that you make money on, I think, buying technically and getting with the trend.
I mean, I think we all got long Bitcoin, or not we, but many people got long Bitcoin thinking that it was going to be the strategic reserve. And then all of a sudden, Trump comes out and Scott Bessent come out and say, hey, this is not going to be added to. We're just going to take Bitcoin that we've seized and add it to the Bitcoin reserve. This is not something that we like to hear as investors of Bitcoin because, hey, as this market continues to grow, it needs to be funded. And if the government gets an opportunity to, again, put some more capital to work, why not put new money to work in Bitcoin, not just seize seized assets. I think that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for more talk like that. And again, what about Cardano? What about all those other names, right? We've seen things like BMNR go up and down on Tom Lee. I think a lot of that is FUD, right? We're all trying to make sure that we do not miss this sort of opportunity to get involved in these names. And right now, I don't like, and I said this last week, I don't like the fact that these names are running, like in Ethereum, are running because others like it. And it's just, it needs to be running because there are use cases and base case scenarios. And right now in the crypto space, honestly, with the price of gas fees for Ethereum and things like that, we need more smart contract operations, more ideas built on smart contracts. I like Solana, I like Ripple for the transfer of money, but right now Bitcoin for me, 116, I'll take it. The last time I bought this thing was 108, we bought some 101s. So we're well in the money on crypto, and we've been doing quite well on it. It's just, I wonder how many more legs it has to the upside without more money here on the strategic angle there for the Bitcoin reserve. So I'm a little bit nervous about where this goes from here, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is right now with Bitcoin, so. You know, you've had no better of a topping tail there. I mean, think about it. You have a euphoric market, and you come out with a cryptocurrency exchange that's called bullish. I mean, I don't know. I remember when Coinbase came out, that sort of signified the top for temporarily there in Bitcoin. I wonder if we just had the same experience again right now.
Like, you couldn't have tried to make it seem more toppish than to actually have it be called bullish. And then, but then all jokes aside, have what's happening to bullish happen, which is, it's been read every single day. You've traded off the open, great. Everyone made money that went long at that open day. It was great. But since then, it's been a short. You know, and it hasn't been very bullish at all. And, you know, hopefully the idea is that crypto is supposed to empower everybody, but I think it can. But we do know that empowered women will change the world, and we're looking at you, you can make it happen. The Woman Boss trains and mentors women and girls across Africa to lead, innovate, and thrive. Since 2018, we've reached over 10,000 women and girls, and your donation today can launch the next great entrepreneur. Scan the QR code on screen now and join us in building a brighter future. Sounds like a fantastic cause there. And let's go right on up to the desk. Get it, Adair.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anyone's really trading TSX here, but if you are, I do want to make everyone aware of Air Canada because the CEO is currently talking about the strike. We did talk about this earlier, how we do have some people here from Air Canada striking. The CEO speaking on this, saying that to Reuters that they are amazed that the union is openly not following the law. They also said that they're taking these service plans day by day, but they do need flight attendants to show up, and they will repatriate flight attendants abroad back to Canada in due course. The CEO is also ensuring that they are the correct person to navigate the current labor unrest, warning that they're going to work hard to regain everyone's trust, but even if the flight attendants return, it's going to take up to 10 days to reach full operations once again. So yeah, really interesting comments here from Air Canada. Stock moving down a little bit here from its highs. Air Canada CEO also saying that shareholders should trust the senior management's expertise and creativity for the correct decisions. We still have these European leaders introducing themselves at this White House meeting. It seems like they've all wrapped up. So now potentially there'll be some questions. Currently, Donald Trump commenting again. I'll let you guys know if there's any updates here. Back to you.
Adair. I was actually just telling Sean, like, I'm wondering, my parents visited my brother out in Halifax, and it's like, usually fly Air Canada. Although when you're retired, you just visit the grandkids even longer. It's not that big of a deal. But
they want it to be delayed, probably.
I don't know. I saw a story this morning, and it was like a newlywed dude who was stuck in like Lebanon or something. And then of course he's out of pocket because you're eating out. You have to extend your stay. That's a tough look for a lot lot of people.
We have some hockey friends that are stuck in Prague right now, and it's just like, I mean, there's been, you can get dollar beers, okay, but it's still sucky to be.
Yeah, it's not that bad when you're in a nice place, but at the end of the day, you're still incurring costs. Like, you put a job to get back to for a lot of people, and it's a big pain in the you know what. But anyways, I don't think anyone around here cares too much about Air Canada stock, although that was one heck of a buy during COVID. Well, I mean, all the airlines were, but AC was pretty good too. Someone around here, it wasn't you, was it?
No, Baxter bought it.
That's who it was. It was Baxter. I knew it was him and someone else did. We know the algo guy.
The problem is, like, I've just created these monsters, my kids. Like now they like stocks and they're in all this stuff, and this guy's buying Air Canada. But here it is right here, AC downside right now. So there goes Air Canada, giving a little bit back. And again, this is just a Canadian problem, but if you guys are traveling, you might have heard about it. They're Air Canada right now, and they're stewardess and stewards, I guess, airline attendants, I believe is the right name. They are striking. So our government will legislate them back. I don't know if they already have or when
they did, and they just refused the order.
Yeah, so then they're going to get scab workers and all that. Who knows how far this is going to go? I'm not a union guy, but
leave that chart for 1 second. Just so show Sean that chart of that's Air Canada, and this is not the same sector, and it's not a Canadian company. But I don't know how many people have looked at what's going on with the cruise lines right now. Like CCL, like travel has been doing well. If we can come to this daily chart, CCL has been doing really well. Broke a 52-week high, and even when it pulled back, it's now double tapped that higher low. So CCL, you can go like Norwegian, although I look at CCL, not Norwegian, so I don't know how great this one's gonna look, but I'm gonna make the load. There you go, looking maybe not as good, I don't think, because you haven't blown out the high, but the trend is still very much in play. You've had a very nice bounce in some of the travel names so far. So it's, I know we're talking about AC, and it's not the best look because it's pulling back on some labor issues, but the travel space has been pretty good, despite some concerns with regards to the labor market, right? Like, you would think that would be a bit of an issue, but it doesn't seem to be playing out that way just yet, and that's the thing, that's the yet. If there's one thing about, I'm just going to go terrible for a second, but I'll finish the thought. If there's one thing that you learn in economics that actually sometimes every now and then matters, it's that the labor market tends to be last, but when it starts looking weak, it accelerates really quickly. Like when there's signs, when there's hints that there's issues, you'll see companies start to react like pretty quickly, trimming, and it's one of those things that you don't want to let that get out of hand. And a lot of times, I think that's why it was such a shock when we had that bad labor print. Although right after that, inflation concerns again, I think the labor market might be a big concern. That's going to get played out, and we'll see how that ends up working out. So again, Wolf bounces off 950. It broke 990, bounced off 950, turned at 975. It bounced off 950. The question is, can it lose the 950 level? It's kind of just going in these quarters so far. So continuous lower highs. The other thing it's now doing since VWAP is it's got a nice trend line since VWAP. So the other way I'd play this is, now that it's got some connects on this trend line, I can look for a pop into the trend line and then short it there instead of looking for that 75-cent mark or that 50-cent mark breakdown. I'll look for this, which is about, right now it's 965, that trend on the 3-minute. Adara?
So you guys know the press got kicked out of the meeting with Trump and the European leaders, including President Volodymyr Zelensky of the Ukraine. So no more press access to that meeting. I'll let you guys know if I'm hearing any other comments, but there's nothing more that we can physically see on screen, so I'm no longer going to be able to cover those meetings. Yeah, the press lately has been kicked out pretty quickly and pretty ceremoniously out of these discussions. Right now, we do not have any press coverage, guys. Back to you.
Right, we just quickly here, because we've been getting out of Nvidia as we've been talking about all of this. It's just, we made the move down. The futures did retrace back a little bit there into the 50 period. So I started covering. So more covers there, and now Nvidia's coming down just a tad bits here, so we're gonna have to watch out for this Nvidia play. I'm gonna stop out now if it breaks 182. We've already taken enough money out of this to be happy with ourselves, so we're gonna do that now and hopefully be able to rejoice what we've done so far. So I only have now 30% left. So our worst out is 39s recently, so that was going to be a pretty good spot for us. So let's see if we can now hold on to this and get back to the upside, as we're bouncing right now off the 50-period moving average. So I will cancel my stop order right now and put another one, because we do not want this trade to turn against us, even if it's 30%, right? And shout out to everybody that's like, wow, we've been on since COVID. Yeah, man, we've been on since 2019. We've been on since before then. So thank you for finding us now. And just keep coming back, man. There's a lot more to come right now. 181.90. What am I long at? All right, let's go 97. Let's give it a little bit of a break spot right there. So we'll hit offer, enter, we'll get out of 100% of what we have left if it does go back up there. And you know what? Let's get a 5% more right there. We'll put an offer at 24. Maybe it comes up, maybe it doesn't, but that was our first sort of areas where we started getting out was here in the 20s as we played this break. So we just played the break. There we go. So we get an ARCA order there through 24. So now let's go 27s. I actually got in trouble, not in trouble, but I was speaking with the owners around here, and they're like, ever since Sean started saying ARCA became one of the top gateways. What I have to tell you is I just use basically any gateway. So just pick your favorite and use it. So I just use ARCA. That's ARB or ARCX sometimes if you see it on the level 1. It's just it's an easy one. You could use Nasdaq, EdgeX. They're all basically the exact same, and they all pretty much pay you the exact same also. So I don't want to give the impression that that's the only gateway I use, because we do business with BATS and EdgeX and Nasdaq and all of that. But
the only difference is between the ones that pay you a rebate and the ones where you pay to add liquidity. You might get, those will fill faster, but if you use them all the time, you just slowly are paying fees, which doesn't make a lot of sense. So as long as you're paying, as long as you use one that pays you, I think you're going to be good to go. Although there's one interesting note on gateways. When that MIEX had their IPO last week, that's the Miami exchange. That was, I wasn't sitting here and whatever. Sometimes you get up and it's like the inopportune time. The MIEX gateway, like literally the MIAX gateway, was the order that was holding this thing at $30 on the bid. You could just see it. They were just sitting on the bid for hundreds of thousands of shares. And when it broke, it just did a very clean move down, like $1.40. Clean. And it was on that gateway. So like somebody using, I guess the underwriters were like, well, we might as well bid on the gateway of the actual exchange. And that's done really well. So lo and behold, everyone gets all excited about bullish, right? And bullish was up the first day and down the rest. And a boring exchange, which, let's be real, they print money, right? Like you add liquidity and you get a fee. We remove liquidity and you pay slightly more than that. So that spread gets made every single time there's an execution on these gateways. And you know, when volume is up, that's great, and they get a bit of piece of that. And as congratulations to them. But this is done better than I expected. Like it's been up. Like, look, at the open you would have lost money, I think, if you took it, the opening print. But it's been up multiple days in a row, the Miami exchange. So a successful IPO that we didn't even talk about.
I just, I didn't think 5-letter symbols were showing up down there, but it's fine if it is. It doesn't matter. This HGRAF, I don't know, it's one of the top volumes here today on the OTC market. So I just hopped over to it. It was actually blocked in our system. It's not doing anything. I was just sort of scanning.
What is it?
I don't know. It's Harmony HydroGraph Clean Power. I don't know. It's been doing volume. So I always sort of just, when the market gets slow, I kind of look around and try to figure out, well, where's my, here, hold on a second. What I want to go to is just market activity, current market. So this is what I do. I just sort by trades. And we've talked about this with Jeff on the air, so this is no secret to what we're doing. And I just saw that it had 8,000 trades today, 8 million shares. So it was actually blocked in our system, so I had to put in a ticket for it. And I put in a ticket, it gets resolved relatively quickly. So there's the short there. We shorted it at 20, we covered it at 12s, so that was a nice downside play. Then I let it fall all the way down, and I let it break $2 back again to the upside. So now we're long $2, and it is, Mr. Roberts? Another one right there. So yeah, man, another positive name today. Maybe we might go 7 for 7 there today as this one. We're just gonna let it go, let it settle down. I'm at 8 here for a little bit, half of what we have left, and then we will go to the upside. Remember, we all trade with dramatically different share sizes, so we'll never disclose that kind of stuff, but if you do wanna know outs and ins and all that, these are what these marks are on our screen. So I just waited for this to break $2. It was pretty simple trading. Once that broke $2 back to the downside, it did, and then we stopped, a little bit of volume. Again, this was just unlocked on here. I can call it up here. This is what it looks like on eSignal. So just unblocked on our system. Remember, here at Real Trading, we can't just trade something. It has to be over $1. It has to be over $1 maybe for a couple days. Anyways, I found it today. I wasn't here on Friday, but so that's what this name is. And there it is, man. It's another banger right there to the upside. So we just got 8s. Now we'll probably get 9s. And so now we're just watching this continue to climb a little bit higher. So there it is. Thank you, Erie Pages. It is the instinct, right? And we talk about that. all the time. Just going over, finding names, trading them, and going for it, right? So I'm very specific with the trades and what we're looking for, and trying to do this as we all are. And this one worked. So yeah, HGRAF. I thought it was Harmony something, and I don't even remember the name either. HydroGraph Clean Power.
No, so I mean, obviously it's hydroelectricity of some sort.
Is what it is for now, but it's still going to the upside. So there it goes.
Not that it really matters.
No, it doesn't. Nothing matters here. But there it goes, upside. Thanks for pointing that out. I didn't even realize it was on there. So nice move higher. And we got to be a little bit careful because, again, with the lack of volume on some of these names, this one has great volume today.
Yeah, but there's like liquidity on them.
Yeah, but some of these OTC names, like they'll be like literally 1 or 2 cents, and we can't hold overnight. So sometimes you're punching the bid and punching the ask, and it doesn't make much sense to do that kind of trading. But right here, it's a nice move. It's down 3% now, but yeah, HydroGraph. Hey man, whenever there's money, your boy's over there, so.
That's sort of the thing, like you look at all the different strategies, like probably the best strategy out there recently, like IPOs have been really good. You just try to find something so you can be consistently positive month over month. And sometimes that can mean finding different things like the OTC markets or whatever it might be. And that's the thing, trading's not easy. Like a lot of traders, struggle to try to have that level of consistency. So you've just got to be able to do you at the end of the day. But one note on that, a lot of times symbols will be blocked just for real trading. If you happen to be at real trading, the reason will be because it doesn't do a lot of volume, right? So it'll be blocked because it doesn't usually do volume. And then if maybe there's news, and then on day one, it's doing a bunch of new volume, but it was previously blocked for liquidity concerns. The onus is on you to put a ticket in and request for the symbol to be unblocked. I've done it a million times. Like, this is now in play. Usually it doesn't have enough liquidity. Today it's going to because this is the reason. They unblock it and then you can trade it. That's pretty much what Sean did there. I've done it before myself. So you have to be a little bit proactive with that. Don't assume some other floor manager or trader is going to do it for you. It's like, someone else is going to unblock this thing. Like, no. If you want to trade it, you do it yourself. Literally do it yourself. You put the ticket in yourself and be proactive. Never make that assumption. So I'm going to take a third shot, trend down on Wolf. This is the trend line. It popped into the top of the trend line, which is at 60. Doesn't seem like it's got as much juice. I probably should have taken 50s when I got the chance, but I'm going to pop out of this. If it literally goes 2 cents against, it's breaking this trend line on TerraWolf. And as far as I'm concerned, when you break a trend in the afternoon at 3:30, I don't want to. You don't want to fight it. It's too late in the day, and relief rally and all that kind of stuff can take you right back into the upside. The idea, if you're shorting it on trend, is to not be stubborn and get out if it breaks the trend. And that's pretty simple. If it breaks 60s, I'm out at like 61 or 62. Maybe we get a midpoint or something along those lines. Death God, is BMNR a dud? It was a good short early, but I don't think, it actually did fall back, didn't it? I was about to say no because of the reverse it put on. But it is right back underneath the volume weighted average price and down 4.5%. But this was pretty strong. Like, give credit where credit is due. Like, I liked this for a short this morning, and there was multiple shorts in, and then I tried it at VWAP and it was no good. But it's come right back into the downside here for BMNR. Now, what I tend to think is, look, any pullback in crypto is going to hit these treasury plays more, right? So we had just finished talking about Bitcoin making that double top, ETH pulling back after that run into the top, run into the highs as well. And so, of course, and you had a pullback for the last few days in BMNR. What's bullish, I guess, or at least solid about this, is it tried to flat bottom break at 54 and liquidity grabs underneath. So it flushed underneath support, but then regained it earlier. So if this can close, knock on wood, I mean, it's heading down now. If this can close above that support at 54, that's actually not bad. That means it reestablished an obvious big level at 54. And when I go back to the daily chart, you can kind of see that's a bull flag on the daily chart, which is a bullish setup, everybody. I think it's not over. But I'll tell you right now, tomorrow I pay for locates again, and if it breaks 54 again, I go short 54 again, because that level is still big-time support. And if it loses it, I still think it could drop 10%. But for now, it's above it, and it's held. So again, that's just my plan of action to favor the short, but that will require it to show weakness down here in the mid-50s like it was this morning. If I just see it bouncing and trending up, I wouldn't want to fight this thing. Like, that's squeeze potential written all over it, because you just have the gangs of what's the best way? Like the crypto bulls that just want to be in these treasury plays. When they go, they can really start squeezing on you. So you want to be with the momentum, especially if you're trying to short.
Man, it's the good old days, right? I mean, these stocks have, like what is Ethereum? You know, like what are we even talking about here? People are piling money into it because they're just following talking heads, right? People did it with Open Door, with Chamath and all that. They lost thousands and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars. And I feel like the same people are going to lose that much money on Ethereum as well, because some of these things just get pumped up out of nowhere. When you're making moves 50% in 3 weeks or something like that for Ethereum, come on. Of course it's coming back down. The same people buying it have no idea. At least when you're buying Nvidia, you sort of know what you're up to. And look, there's going to be people out there and even people watching that are like, wow, you know, this guy, me, knows nothing about Ethereum. I'm telling you, you know, smart contracts, stable coins, all of that. Yeah, sure. I don't know anything about them, but I just know that it's been hyped up. And whenever you watch out for, same thing with Palantir, like there's a whole, it happens in stocks maybe more than in crypto, right? Look at Open Door, look at some of these other plays where people post something hoping for a reaction, right? It's like Citron can get short all the Palantir in the world that they want, and then they drop those reports. So it's like, you know, the market allows it to happen, and it's going to happen. So, you know, when Tom Lee puts money in and starts talking up his book, everybody jumps it. And I think that's the right play. I am not hating on that at all. I think eventually Ethereum does come back down. And I know Sharif just bought up here at $36 or whatever on Thursday. I think he got into Ethereum. So that was, yeah, which is maybe why it was a bit sour. But nice move to the upside there, pulling back in. And I honestly think that, like, it's home probably somewhere like around, like, I don't know, 24, 25, 26. You know, that's just, to me, a little bit more reasonable. And we're in the crypto golden age right now, where right here you're trying to figure out of the top 10, like which ones are going to wind up surviving. And then I think those ones have a very amazing runway. I mean, I am in pretty much 4 or 5 coins, not equally spread out. Bitcoin is going to be the largest of mine. I don't hold any Ethereum. Well, I do hold some in trust, but with an ETF. Other than that, I own, as far as pure coins are concerned, XRP, Solana, and Cardano are the ones that I own, and I've owned them all before the obviously that crypto reserve news. And, like, you know, I remember, and you're not going to get 10 or 12, 30, 40, 50x like we already gotten on all of these things. I mean, you got 1,000x on Bitcoin. Cardano, many of us are probably long sub 10 cents. You know, it's 91 cents right now. It's going to be a hold game if you believe in the space. I think Ripple is great for money transactions, and you want to talk about cheap money going through. I mean, you can transact billions of dollars, yeah, in seconds, you know, and we've been talking about that for years and years, and it's only now finally getting up to $3. So I think Ethereum has, look, I think it has a great opportunity to get going, but all this stable coin talk and this and that, I just think it's a little overblown, and you're seeing it right now, right? You're seeing names like Circle, which I don't even know, CRCL, coming back down a little bit here off, and they're back up, I guess, but, you know, they had a great IPO and a little bit selling happening now in Circle. I guess it's actually not coming back up. It's continuously going lower. So again, nice there. And then we'll see. They did have a decent report, but we'll see where that goes. We see Coinbase coming back in a little bit.
Pull that one up again.
Which one?
Pull Circle back up.
Yeah, this one right here. Yeah.
Like, forget about the bullish thing. Like, when that made that lower high, like, that's about as okay, we're getting some toppy, like the lower high. Like, that's,
up here.
Yeah, like that's one of those. That's one of those signals that, hey, it's getting a little frothy in the space a little bit. Like, you'll never catch. Like, I have nothing against Circle. I don't know about bullish, but I'd rather, you know, like, I'd rather be in Coinbase. I'd rather be in SoFi.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in Webull. I'm in all these names.
Well, because why? Because they're more. They benefit from growth in crypto, but they offer so much more. There's trading. We're going to go 24
That's what I mean. We can understand the business model.
I can understand the business model. And then I get exposure to crypto as well. Yeah. So we go 24/5, and it's like rising tide lifts all ships. And then on top of that, if crypto goes crazy, then I know. Look, I don't own Robinhood. I own the other ones. I literally own everyone that I just said except for Robinhood. But you know what I mean? They're all
I don't own enough of any of these things, to be honest with you. Like, these things, and this is what I try to tell Sharif, and I try to tell everybody all this kind of stuff. Like, let's just pretend crypto goes 10x from here. Is anybody actually even getting rich? Like, how much do you have to own for this thing to go 10x? I mean, let's be...
Bitcoin going 10x?
Yeah, but I mean... Do you have 100 grand in it to make $1 million?
Over what time period? Because at the end of the day, if Bitcoin goes 10x, I feel like my Nvidia is going to do pretty damn good.
That's my point. I mean, this is what I'm saying. There's so many other things. And like, how much do you actually have? How much does anybody have in crypto?
5% of my portfolio, but at the same time.
Who cares if you don't know what the portfolio is? What I'm saying is that what...
Principle is priceless. I'll be quite happy.
Oh no, of course we'll always be quite happy, but no one's getting rich off of it because no one is heavily invested.
The whole like you go from like 25 cents on Ethereum to whatever it is right now.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Those days are over, man. If you happen to find a fart coin that does that for you, more power to you. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. But
I think you're missing the point. What I'm saying is that I don't think anybody right now is super invested in crypto to the point where even if it moons, you're going to be like, there's so many more people are so much heavier invested in stocks.
I think
right now
people with
that
balanced portfolios, like probably us, to a extent, I think it's true. But I won't call it. But I do know a few cousins of mine that, well, not my like a generation under. Well, they're still my cousins, but like my cousins.
Yeah. The younger
that they're like they get aggressive with it. We're like, a lot of what they don't have that much savings, but like a lot of it is in crypto.
Right.
Now, it's not always in Bitcoin, which scares the crap out of me. And we've had that conversation. It's like, you really would put, but they're just young and they're taking shots. But I do think there are some youth out there that are pretty aggressive in it.
But you're not. But I think they're the right. But I think they're the right way. If they actually want to get rich in crypto, it's not going to be Bitcoin. It's not going to be Ethereum.
Yeah, they're trying to find other things that maybe.
Yeah, because those have already mooned. You know, you're not going to get those kind of plays. And that's what I'm saying. Even if crypto goes 10x from now, just everybody, like if you're just honest with yourself and just ask yourself, how much do you actually have invested right now in Bitcoin? And let's just say it goes 5x and it goes to $600,000 a coin right now. You're not, like what is that for most of us, a vacation? Like you got, I don't know, again, I don't know how much people have in it, but I'm just telling you, people that I've talked to, I don't know anybody. Right?
Except for more than a vacation. We know somebody that would really.
But who cares about somebody? I'm saying the average person. Like I don't know.
More than a vacation. If it goes 5x from here, well, I mean, again, it's to each their own.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about. That's what I'm saying. Like until we actually tell anybody what we actually have in it, I don't know, right? And so like I know that some people around here, we don't talk about how much we have into it, but think about it. Even if you're managing a $1 million account, 5% of that is 50 grand. So 10x would be huge. We'd like to have $500,000. That would be huge. But you got to have 50 grand in it.
I hope you would, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm saying you got to have 500. You got to have 50 grand in it right now.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, right? And so I know a handful of people that have more than 20 grand in it right now. And so that's just me, but I don't know. And I'm long only. I don't have any shorts in my whole account. Like I'm long only and I'm very, very bullish on crypto. I just don't think it's that huge play right now that a lot of people do, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, I am trying, Damien, my whole thing is keeping it real, my guy. That's what I'm doing. But anyways, we're at 337 right now, and we're looking to see what's going on. We got a real trade here in Nvidia. That's okay. You know what? Now that it's right here, Neil and I always talk about the imbalances. They're coming
10 minutes. Yeah,
momentarily. So probably good now. We only have 20% left of Nvidia at this time, so we'll see what winds up happening with this play. But we're going to go on that. So. Here we go. Let's go Nvidia and the rest of this market with Bitcoin here. Peter Thiel. Oh, they just talked about creating. So Peter Thiel again was involved in bullish. So just saw a note about him with Ethereum, but anyway.
Yeah, well, he was. To be honest, like that was. I won't lie. Peter Thiel literally having his name on it was a good portion of why I like the opening print on that IPO. I had no desire in owning. Like I'm not investing in bullish. But to me, it's like it gave it more hype, so it made the opening print better when I had a gigantic buy amount.
Yeah.
So like to that point, like it's a weird thing to say, but like if there was only because you used Chamath's name, it would really matter. Like if you tell me this is backed by so and so, like my thought would be, okay, well, how does the market like to react to that? What's the sentiment around that person?
Right.
If good, then I like that IPO. If bad, and I'm talking about just taking it at the open. But if bad, then I don't want that opening print. Sometimes you have to say no to the opening print. We saw that with MyX to a certain extent. Just very quickly, Wolf just hit the 40 level. Looks like it kind of caught a bid, but I don't know how much of a bid it caught. I think that's going to be the last salvo. It went right to the trend line the last time without breaking. I feel if it gets to the trend line again, it's probably a bit of a reversal here. Peter Thiel tattooed. No, never mind. I'm not going to read that one out loud. The early look for the imbalances. There's a few over $1 million worth looking. I mean, UiPath, $1 million to the sell side early look. Twilio, $1.1 million. STR, For some reason, I feel that could be an index action, so I'm going to double check that one. I feel like that's somebody buying somebody else. So I would, again, if I confirm that, that would make me want to ignore that unless it's a much, much bigger sell action. But we have seen on a day where sometimes the chips are moving around a bit, Nvidia usually lately is the one that has a big imbalance. So watch out for that. In particular, it seems to always be Nvidia. But in about 10 minutes, we'll get a big update when these imbalances come out there. I think that might give us trading opportunities. Maybe it doesn't, and we have nothing to look at. But remember, at the close, we've got a monster name. Like, we're starting off the week with Palo Alto. It's all about retail later in the week, but we get the biggest and the baddest in cybersecurity. Although you might make a strong argument, at least when looking at the chart, that CrowdStrike has been much better than Palo Alto, but it is still considered that. I mean, you still kind of consider that best of breed, and we get them after the bell, coming off of Fortinet, which got smoked on its earnings, and ended up a buying opportunity. Everything about the report wasn't that bad. Went down over 20%. The second day it calmed down. Every day after that, it's been a nice dip buy. That's all you can hope for when you see, like, Amazon did this, same thing. Trended down, like one day, and then it caught a bid, and that's what you look for. You get these opportunities to buy these companies. If it doesn't make sense, let it settle for a day or two, and then buy it right back up.
All right, what's up, everybody? What's up, Becky? Hope you're doing well. We are doing absolutely fantastic because I told you we're long only, and imagine Bitcoin went 8% in one day, like Oscar did. We've got a chicken dinner winner here on Oscar Health. Again, a call from earnings, and we made the play just before earnings. It went down a little bit, I believe, on that earnings play, but again, we wanted this company coming back in. I really think this one has great opportunity to get higher. So we're going to look for our first out, hopefully tomorrow around 1750. Right into there for Oscar, so hopefully that can come up. We're up 8% right now on this name just today alone, so nice bump up there for Oscar as UNH and whatnot continue to go. We ride the bull. You guys know we bought it right here live on the show. We're long $11 on Webull. We still like that. We got out of our SoFi at 24. We still have probably about 70% of it. We didn't get out of a whole bunch of it at $24, and that's right where it is right now. So another great play there. And I said that I've liked Coinbase this year. I don't know. It's almost too volatile for me to do anything with it. So I'm not a huge trader of Coinbase or own the shares. I just thought I liked it this year. I don't even think I own very much of Coinbase at all. But it had that move downside there, and then whoops, all the way back up. Like, you want to talk about a name getting crushed again. This high was 343. It went down to $140. So this name got chopped down 70% this year already. Like, traders looking for pullbacks to buy stocks, I'm here to tell you, man, like, the opportunity might have happened. Obviously, we have tariffs and whatnot, but this starts in February, goes all the way down to those lows in April, and then just rips your face off all the way back to 430 and puts 3x on its head. So, you know, a huge move up there for Coinbase again. I still think there's room to run. I mean, and this is another thing that I'm talking about when you're looking at, you know, opportunities to make a lot of coin. You know, let's put Bitcoin versus Reddit, you know, things like that. Like, these are just things that are starting to break. Like, there's Reddit right there. I talked about Reddit on this break and didn't do anything about it, 130 right there. Now it's 250 and straight up to the upside. So here we go, Reddit, you know, like, again, a business that we can sort of wrap our head around. Reddit continues to move upside. We said that there's a big advertising opportunity with Reddit and Europe and everything like that, primarily a US-based look.
The interesting, but those are at the tops. Like, there's some interesting.
Well, right now, forget about it.
I think, like, there's been names that have been dipping all year. We'll go there quick. We'll go to it there, and I'll finish the thought. Let's go there. We got breaking news, and we'll come back.
Keep an eye on Nvidia. I'm seeing apparently that the company's Blackwell architecture is now available on GeForce Now. So again, looks like Nvidia's Blackwell architecture is now available on GeForce Now. Back to you.
Thank you, Adara. So what I was getting at is, like, we saw it with solar. They're starting to get off the schneid a little bit for a bit of rotation, but you're seeing it also in the healthcare. Like, ever since, if you look at, like, just look at both Viking and
where did our positions go? Where did our positions go?
Novo's, Viking, Novo, and Eli Lilly is what I'm getting at. The GLP names have been, look, Lilly's not been beaten up. It's just had its first weak move through 700. The other names have been beaten up and caught a little bit of a bid. But all of these, and look how, like, this is a stock that was 85, I don't know, like $80 when they had a good oral trial. and it made its high on volume, right? It was just a gigantic sell the news event because everyone knows they don't have enough money to actually go into full production, even if it ends up working out. So they need an acquisition, they need to raise more. Like, that was well known about it. It catches the 50 period and it breaks out. Like, that stock's already gone 20% since it did that and has a chance for more. Lilly's pulled back and gone 10%. Novo Nordisk, like these are names that are trending down. Okay, Novo maybe not as good, but off the lows at least. This is why I like Viking better, because it's above the 50. It's above the 50 period moving average, and this one's still languishing. But it's also up like 20%. This is a name that if something were to finally break right for them, this could easily double. Now, personally, I like Viking better because they're like the most obvious candidate for a takeout. And they've now started trending back higher. So it's like, A, it's trending up with a little bit of a bounce overall in the group. And then B, they're kind of a popular takeover target, so you might get that benefit as well in the next couple of years. And we keep talking about how there's supposed to be more M&A, and there has been some, but it hasn't been nearly as big of the M&A boom.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the IPO market has heated up, but at the beginning of the year, everyone was talking about how it's going to be both. There's going to be this boom of M&A, and there's going to be a boom in IPOs, and we kind of got one and a little bit of the other. But there's still some time in the year for that to work its way through. And ultimately, that's just one space that can go. And the third one, I didn't pull up the chart of Eli Lilly because it's a little different from the others, because I can't really say that Eli Lilly has been bouncing off lows or making a curl off of a downward trend the same way that you have in, say, a Viking or in a Novo Nordisk. Like Eli Lilly, yeah, it's been slightly going down, but if you zoom it out far enough, you realize it's like one gigantic bull flag on a higher time frame that really isn't that bad of a down move if you compare it to its cohorts. Like, this is the one that you don't lose sleep overnight. Like if you're in Viking or Novo and you go long, you have a stop on it. You can own Eli Lilly without a stop. At least I don't know. You can feel comfortable about it anyways. Maybe you don't want to not have a stop. But.
Yeah, I don't have a stop. I own Eli Lilly and been buying those dips. So congratulations if you are in that camp. I don't know. Hopefully it will start to work out for us all. And we'll see what happens with Eli Lilly. Again, a good name, but in the spot of buying dips. I think that you got to do that, just like PANW, where they're coming after hours as well. Okay, NVIDIA, again, let's just take another piece. Why not? Let's take another 26 right here. So that's what we did. Another piece out here for Eli Lilly, and we'll just wait to see now. Eli Lilly for NVIDIA. Another 26 just filled us up right there, so we're happy with that, and we'll just move off of it now and wait to see what goes down with NVIDIA. With those imbalances now just in 3 minutes, who knows? But so far, so good. We're really happy with our plays here this afternoon. We only have NVIDIA. That was in our sort of our wheelhouse there. And then we did cover, which I thought was a pretty good cover there as well. That was bad. Like when we were actually out for a walk when that tick happened. But we got short there, got out a bit, started to build it back, took some more profits there, but then eventually pops through, and we were able to get out and sniff that one out because we did go long on NVIDIA before all of that. So now we'll have to wait to see where we go with NVIDIA here into the close and the TQs. Nice market today again. That was just kind of a joke, but flat again on the day for the market. And I think we pretty much nailed that. We were talking about it with Jackson Hole coming this week, more talks coming from the Fed. President Trump was Zelensky today. The rate hike not existing, the rate cut now to 83%. So looks like that's going to be happening right there. We had huge trades off the open with Open Door. We had a huge trade with Array as well. Not huge, but we had a good trade with Array there. And unfortunately, our last 10% got stopped and we broke $8. Well, yada, right there. And that was not a good one there. And then we had their biggest trade of the day, which is what's helping the P&L today is this. For some reason, man, AMD just went for a run early, and we were there catching it, and we did that. So nice move higher there for AMD. We caught that move, and you can see what wound up happening just after that. Our best outs for AMD was about a $3 and change winner down there. But yeah, we got a piece out there just a little while ago, and that's when we were deciding to go long on NVIDIA. The names that we only now have a minute and a half left, so the show's getting long in the tooth. We do have Neil coming through with Adara, and those are going to be PANW, and then we'll hear from Michael Noss to see what market he thinks is about to go up and whatever.
We can get a chance to talk to him.
8% on Oscar. We've already talked about that one. Again, congratulations to all all of you that sort of tailed on that trade. I like that one. Intel down 4% today on a Bloomberg report that potentially the U.S. government is taking that 10% stake. So we don't know if that was something that the market liked or not, but I thought they would have, but apparently not. Amazon right there, 231 up 0.24%. Again, pretty good Prime Day sales going through on Amazon. We'll wait to hear about their next sort of move, right? They have that Zook, some of their car business there. Meta down 2% today. I can't quite remember the story on Meta. Robinhood relatively flat today. Palo Alto, a lot of people want to know about that because we have earnings coming up. Open Door, hey man, we rocked some Open Door today, so yeehaw. For that one. So far, we just sort of went over that a little bit. I mean, if you like the space, you like the space. I think new banking, this SoFi kind of fits with my Oscar play. So I kind of like that one. Roblox is going through some times now because there's some worries about pedophiles and things like that. So we'll have to wait to see what winds up happening with Roblox. They're going to have to tighten up their security, that's for sure. UNH there, 2%. Tempest, 7%. I got to find out about that. Maybe Nancy bought some more.
She's always buying.
Going through. But those are what you guys wanted us to look at. And I think we just sort of recapped some of those stories. And crypto's been blasting upside today. At least it's 116 again.
Well, it held 115. Bitcoin held the 115 level, which is good. But if you look at if you still look at it in the higher time frame, it's nice. It's just not that good. In context of where we pull back from the 125. But IQ, that's a $2 stock, 3.5 million sell. TLT, so to the 20-year treasury, 2.7 million to the sell side. CRGX, that's some small cap stock. Wolf with a 2 million sell as well. Oh, that's actually pretty decent. STR, again, that's that bio deal. Twilio, where are the big cap tech names here? Nowhere.
Nvidia didn't move.
Tesla, 700,000. That's the biggest Mag 7 name I can find is Tesla with 700,000 to the sell side. Intel, 700,000. That's pretty tiny. The market overall was 400 million to buy. Nasdaq, 119 million. The Dow, 265. The Mag 7, 135 million. So very small numbers on the imbalance locator. I guess, I mean, suppose Wolf and the 20-year treasury, which imbalances on the 20-year don't do anything. I can't tell you how many times I'm like, ooh, I wonder if that's interesting. And you look at it, doesn't even move. Wolf didn't even move on its sell imbalance. So the imbalances might be a bit of a nothing burger. But I promise you this, PANW will not be a nothing burger today. And you'll care about this whether you own, if you own an ETF, if you own CrowdStrike, if you own Zscaler, if you're in Fortinet, if you're in PANW itself. They tend to always beat. They tend to beat their numbers every single time. It just hasn't always meant the stock will go up. You know, and I'm of the view that at least this time we're in the midst of a pullback on PANW going into it. Like it's dipped 20-something% off the highs in total, and then it bounced after that. But it's still in the midst of a little bit of a pullback from the highs instead of flying into the top, and then you get a report, and you know that anyone's getting punished. They can point to anything in there. It's like, oh, what? What do you mean inline guidance? Stock down 10%.
Yeah.
You know, like it's the kind of nonsense that Amazon had to deal with. It wasn't really nonsense. Price action's price action. So for me to call it nonsense just meant it was a buying opportunity, which I did on that stock. And maybe we do that again on PANW. Although, as I said, I'm only looking to buy the ETF personally when it comes to these names. Because I like PANW, I like CrowdStrike, but you know, getting a little bit more exposure. You get a little Broadcom, you get a little Cisco in there as well when you buy the ETF.
Okay, so right into here, it'll be exciting. We'll see what happens. I think it will move more than the 8%, so let's wait to see there. I do want to thank Skunk Funker for the $20, so thank you so much for that. That is
awesome. Good name.
We like that one. Skunk Funker has been talking about how good of a show it's been, so for that we say
awesome.
All right, and then what's up, AXPM? What's up, AXPM here with $10 euros, I guess, right there. Let's go quick. All right, any tips on flipping bias intraday? Got smoked on Robinhood, shorted 112.80, missed your target, lower previous day, and kept shorting, stopped out a few times. All right, so again, I think there's two things here. So not only maybe did you miss flipping your bias, but then you also probably over traded it, I think, right there. And I think that that's the only time. And again, from trader to trader here, I think that's the only time that I ever really get carried away is kind of, and thank you for the super chat, is when we start to overtrade a little bit. And, you know, I would just say on a name like Robinhood or any name, and I think that I like to flip up the odd time and, you know, decide to go long or short and like get out of that TQs when something's not right. And so I just think that, again, you want to make sure that why you're shorting, like that reason still exists, whether or not it's going short or going long, right? And I think that when you're into here and you're debating going short, you have to say to yourself, well, if it breaks this level maybe, then I'm gonna get out, or whatever level you've identified for yourself, and just say it's time to regroup. And I think that when you're deciding to flip short, you can't, or flip your bias, you can't do it on a whim, right? Like this TQQ trade that we were going short into here, and I decided to flip. I didn't really flip, I just covered because I was like, you know what? I don't necessarily like the long anymore. We're above the short, sorry. We're above VWAP, we're starting to tick higher. We had names like Nvidia that we thought were looking better for the long. So, we know which dog wags what tail around here. So we didn't want to be in the queues if we thought Nvidia was going up. So that's just one of those things where it's easy to flip biases, but you got to make sure that you have reasons to do it. And as this day gets shorter, maybe we didn't talk about that enough, but I'll talk about this over the next couple days for sure. But yeah, it's just about, we were short AMD early because we had some negative stories about it, and it had been a negative move to the downside, so that was an easy play for us, and then leave it alone when nothing's happening. So again, catalysts are the big reason for why you'd want to flip one way or the other, and I'm here for you every single day, and I want to thank you for continuously watching, except for when I take vacations.
Yeah, I think it's a great answer. And I think as long as you have a strategy behind it, that's what's going to matter overall. Have a good reason to do something. And I think that's what Trade the Pool's trying to do here with something new for everybody. Because they've created something special just for traders like yourselves. A free ebook featuring 4 proven swing trading strategies from Trade the Pool's top funded traders. Inside, you'll see exactly how they approach the markets, how they manage risk, and what setups they rely on, so you can learn and grow from what actually works. Download it now by scanning the QR code you see in front of you on the screen or hitting the link in the description. Thank you to Trade the Pool. I'd shown you there were literally no Mag 7 names out there that had big imbalances, so when you're looking for things to quote to flip, there were really no big imbalances to flip. So not a heck of a lot going on. Wolf, if you're paying, if it matters, I think 700,000 on the locator to the sell side, but the thing about these smaller names, 700,000 in balance might seem big. When the stock has done 150 million shares, it's meaningless. So Wolf barely even moved on that. It was just sort of doing its own thing anyways. In 3.5 minutes, we'll get on up to we'll be going onto the desk, talk a little bit Palo Alto, which is shortly after the bell, and expecting a good move for sure. And I know you're trolling me, Nick, but I don't mind reading it. Because when you're a confident Bills fan, I don't care about the preseason. The Bills did great yesterday against the Bears. I see the Super Bowl potential. Well, let's just say this. In the preseason, if you're playing your starters a bunch, sometimes it's because you need to play your starters a bunch. And if you're not playing your starters at all, it's because you know how good you are. And the Bills don't care. And they lost 38-0, and they didn't play anybody that mattered. And the Bears did. And that's fine. And I actually like the Bears this year. I might root for them from time to time. Although I still think they're going to do terribly in that division because the division, I think they're a much improved team. They're just in a division they can't do anything with. And it's nothing, you can't control the teams that you're up against, but they're screwed and they have zero chance in that division.
It's why
and the Bills are going to win theirs easily.
Yeah, the Bills, yeah.
So what are we talking about? The Bills didn't have to play their starters, and rightfully so. If they played Josh Allen, I'd be pissed off if that guy gets... why would you? The guy's the most important player on. You don't play those stars. Anyways, I hope that Chicago does fine. I think it's a great city, but they're not the Bills, and they never will be. Preseason is preseason. You can have fun at the preseason. I've been to preseason games before. Have a few brews, enjoy the game, but you're not going to see anything that actually matters, and not really anybody that's going to. You're not giving up game plans, all that kind of stuff. Whatever. It is what it is.
No, for sure, man.
The Bills aren't winning the East.
That'd be hilarious if they don't win the East.
I'll tell you right now, if the Bills don't win the division, anyone wants to, I'll do like some kind of, if there's something on the other side of it, if someone's taking the other side, I'm willing to do any fun humiliation bet if there's someone that wants to take the other side of that when they do win it. And you can have odds, like whatever the heck the odds are as far as I'm concerned. Like, I don't care. I'll let you juice it. Like, how could they, Miami's a trash.
Yeah, I mean, the
Jets are trash.
New England
Patriots
could be okay.
I like their quarterback,
but
I don't think they have a full team.
Defense might be okay.
But they have zero to worry about. Like, Josh Allen, That's the only.
It's not the
that's
NFC
the
North,
only
my guys.
Yeah, the North is. I wouldn't want to be in that division.
Yeah, no. Well, Packers will be fine, and then like you said, the Lions are over there, and then we'll wait to see the Minnesota new quarterback, rookie quarterback, second-year quarterback.
Mixed so far.
JJ McCarthy. We'll see what happens.
All right, I'm gonna get to the desk.
All right, good job.
PANW, please, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. We need that. Well, we don't need anything, but hopefully that stock can go up to the upside as well. What's up to PANW and all my friends out there? We had closed Nvidia just a couple seconds ago, as Neil was talking about the bills right there. So we get out at 22s or 23s, I believe it was, with now only 40 seconds left. Thank you so much for everything today. It's been a great trade. It's been a great day, and we couldn't have done it. Of course, we always say this, but without you, because we mean that. Without you guys, we can't do any of this. So thank you for continuously supporting the show, and we're gonna be back here tomorrow with a bigger one and a better one as well. So join all of us tomorrow. I believe Joe should be back, so that should be a lot of fun. You'll be seeing Joe and Sharif on the midday show. Neil and I here again. And we will enjoy putting that show on for you as summertime in full effect right now. VinFast is your global intelligent mobility company, and we have 5 seconds left, and there it is. It is something just happened to one, and there we go. So there goes the bell again there today, as we have a new bell today, Ramin, and that looked pretty cool. This bell brought to you by VinFast. We want to thank everybody for the show today. Thanks, Ramin, Fabian, everybody in there behind us. Andre, thank you for all your hard work this morning as well. Thanks, Sharif, Obi, Neil, Adara, and Brendan. I don't think we missed anybody right there. And obviously, a big shout out to all of you. We cannot do this without you. And again, our bell that we normally do have, right now our green screen is down as we change around our studio. So I don't know when that'll be back, but I thought that was pretty cool. Well done there on that. So, all right, without any further ado, I'm Sean, and my new thing is, ciao for now.
Welcome, everybody. Your market recap show brought to you by Beta Pro by GlobeX is live. And first off the bat, we're going to have Palo Alto earnings. That's the big name, expected at 405. Considered to be best of breed in the space, but potentially Blink as well. Blink charging, a little bit of a smaller name that we could see after the bell. So there are some earnings to round off into, of course, a lot of geopolitically today, the meeting between President Trump and Zelensky. Certainly always interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Not much came out of it. Not a market-moving event either, so I don't know that
Briefly, it kind of
there was a little bit of
a moment where it did move the market.
But I think the actual bigger move that came out from the administration that moved something in the market was when potentially, according to Bloomberg, the Intel stake could be 20 or 10%, and that caused a little bit of a spike there. But it was a Bloomberg story, and it wasn't necessarily confirmed. No, we don't know that the U.S. government is taking a 10% stake in Intel. It was simply speculated, and of course, when that happens, and this is hilarious because when it's just a Bloomberg story, the algos, I guess, get caught buying it, thinking that it's an actual 10% stake and official. And once it is clear that it is just a potential rumor that it's 10%, it ends up flushing. So this is why we have Adara. This is why whenever you're trading and you're looking at the news, you want to make sure you get it right. It's one thing to say, there's a potential 10%, it's a potential it could be 10% stake, and the government is or has taken a 10% stake. I think obviously if it was the latter two, the stock probably would have actually held that move to the upside for Intel. That's why we always want to make sure we get these stories right, which Adara does brilliantly.
Well, thank you very much. And I'm actually going to make a bit of maybe a bold statement. I actually don't think that's why Intel popped and dropped. I think it's because initially we were just seeing, no, I think it's the same story, but I think the angle is different.
Okay,
so I was initially seeing and reporting that Bloomberg reported that the U.S. government was just going to take a stake in Intel. So just the same report again. Then we got the 10% detail, as far as I remember this coming out, and I think that's actually why the market dropped. Maybe we wanted a larger stake or a smaller stake. I don't know, but either way, CRM just reporting here, or not reporting, that they agreed to acquire Regrelio, which is an AI native solution that automates complex business processes. So an AI acquisition here for CRM, Salesforce, a stock that I know you.
I don't want them to make an acquisition.
No, I mean, we've been watching this one on a technical level. I know I have, I believe you have as well, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well, whatever, man. I bought it from a technical level. The last thing I want to see them do is make an acquisition, which usually beats up the company for a few days.
Palo Alto
sometimes Palo Alto as well. By the way, Blink is potentially out. I haven't seen the numbers.
Me neither.
Blink it was at $1. and it went down to 90 cents.
I have the numbers.
And then right back into $1. So it's a bit of a penny stock there that went 10% down and now coming right back up is Blink. Palo Alto, of course, expecting in just a couple minutes.
Yeah, I can talk about Blink here. I cannot show my screen because I just have the Zoom set up for our friend Michael Noss. He's very excited to talk to us, but Blink charting here, adjusted losses of 26 cents per share. That is larger, Neil, than the expected loss of 18 cents per share. Sales, though, were a beat, $28.667 million versus $22.113 million expected. So larger than expected loss per share, but sales beat. They also said that based on their current visibility, they expect to achieve continued sequential revenue growth in H2 2025. So mixed, generally not too bad report here. So we're going to have to wait and see, but that is BLNK. Of course, that's not what we're all waiting for. We're all waiting for here is Palo Alto Networks.
Yes.
And I have to say, like I did a whole infographic here for Palo Alto's revenue. We've been talking about this all day. Now I just want to watch the movie Palo Alto by James Franco again now, or sorry, Gia Coppola. James Franco co-inspired that because I'm like, yeah, I've said the word so many times. But shout out to everyone in this stock. Hopefully all goes well with regards to these earnings reports. Are you reporting API as well? Someone's asking me in the chat. Yeah, for sure. I can pull up that report for you. Agora Inc. Yeah, if I get any earnings from them, I'll let you know. There's also a really great question here, which I like to address. Oh, if we get Palo Alto, I'll address this after.
Right to the upside. Yeah, Palo Alto, if it's out, we just hit 185 instantly, right off the bat, moving higher. Now $8 to the upside, just cracked 186. So PANW is out, and they must like it. Sometimes it's good that you pull back going into earnings because that means you have an easier runway to the upside for Palo Alto. Let's get it. That's why we like this name. Best of breed. So far, so good, Adara. What do we have as far as numbers go here?
I don't have the numbers yet. I have XYZ has a story. Thank you, Darwin, as well for mentioning this in the chat. But I'm just seeing this come through on my end. SEC filing says that Block or XYZ is going to be selling $2.2 billion in senior notes due 2030 and 2033 through Goldman Sachs. That actually exceeds their initial plan here of a $1.5 billion offering. So expanded offering here for XYZ. Yeah, these recent additions to the S&P 500, specifically TTD and XYZ, have been getting beaten up lately. If I had Palo Alto, I do have Palo Alto Networks now. Let's get into it. So Q4 adjusted earnings here, guys, of 95 cents per share versus 88 cents expected. That's a beat. Sales, $2.536 billion versus $2.502 billion. That's a beat. We do not have guidance yet, but that's a double beat here for Palo Alto Networks, though it is worth noting, Neil, as of late, the guidance has mattered a lot more than what you're seeing here with the sales.
Yes.
And I actually did just get the guidance. If you don't mind, I'll get into that right now.
That matters more.
Yeah, so Q1 adjusted earnings here, they're expecting between 88 and 90 cents per share. That's above estimates of 85 cents. That's a good look. They're guiding sales here between 2.45 billion and 2.47 billion. That's also a beat. $2.434 billion. So they beat on earnings, they beat on revenue, and they had better than expected guidance for both metrics. Honestly, like, this is a very solid report, in my opinion. Let's see what the market thinks, though.
Yeah, top, bottom beats. We call it the trifecta. If you beat top, bottom, and go for the guidance. We got a little more numbers from Palo Alto as it just made, on the guidance, it made a fresh high through 86, right into 187. It had dipped into 80, but that's the thing. You'll go up on the top and bottom, then you wait for the guide, sometimes pull back, right back through the highs when they beat on guidance.
I have no beef with this report. Let's talk about their guidance for fiscal 2026, because that's also better than expected. They already beat on quarterly guidance, and they beat on the fiscal year guidance too. So they're guiding adjusted earnings between $3.75 to $3.85 per share for the fiscal year versus $3.67 expected. That's a beat across the board. Now, what about their sales guidance for the fiscal year? They're expecting sales between $10.475 billion and $10.525 billion. We were expecting here $10.432 billion. So that is a double beat for fiscal 2026 guidance, a double beat for Q1 2026 guidance, and a beat here for their actual reported numbers for Q4. Knockout for Palo Alto Networks.
That's a knockout, and it just knocked out another dollar higher to 188, so it continues. When you're beating across the board and then the full year comes in, you saw another spike. The second the full year came in, there was another spike to the upside. If we're looking at where this is just now gone, this went from sort of languishing about 12 points from the 50 period to regaining the 50 period moving average. So the 187, that'll be a great hold, because if you look at the pullback from that prior high going back, not too short, actually shortly, it wasn't even that long ago on the 10th. Nice bounce off 87. Now the 50 period's at 87. So what level do we need to hold on to tomorrow in this bounce? I think you got to hold on to 187, and we'll look at that very closely tomorrow morning. Very closely tomorrow morning and this afternoon. Let's see how it does There's usually some profit taking. Can it hold on to the 87 mark? You're up 7%. It's worth remembering the implied move is 7.9%. So right now, you've essentially gone to the implied move high and dipped. That's why, to me, technically this 87 has to hold. You've gotten good numbers across the board. So if you just want to hold on to that prior support, because what you haven't had happen is to break through and go bigger than the expected move. So it just comes down to how far are you pulling back if you don't beat the expected move. That being said, this is much, much better than we saw from Fortinet, right? Like Fortinet was an absolute disaster. Let's be real. The earnings weren't a disaster. The move was a disaster when it came to Fortinet. It was pretty nasty, and it wasn't like you could point to anything in particular about the report. A lot of it, sometimes it's just a sentiment. You get caught the wrong direction. Maybe there's some profit takers. Maybe someone finds themselves over leveraged. It ended up being a buy, but Palo Alto, the best in breed and looking very, very good. You wanted to see these beats across the board, and the guidance so important. I think it's a big note. This had pulled right back in to 180, then the guidance came out and it popped right back through the high. So when anyone that trades this, first of all, I don't know that you want to be trading in the aftermarket. It's risky, but if you have strategies around it, when you get that pop on EPS and know that the guidance matters more, take your money, because if the guide had come the wrong way, it probably goes red, let's be real, for a second here. You know, like it probably would have gone red if they had guided, if they guided under the midpoint. So Mark asks, or Mark's in the chat, Neil with PANW going up, how would you buy it tomorrow? Well, from a day trade perspective, I just zoomed out and looked at the first obvious technical level. I don't know where it's going to close, and I don't know where it's going to be when I sit down in the morning, but the 187 is a big key level, the 50 period on the daily, the support here at 187. That's the first place I want to see it hold over. If it can't hold on to that, maybe I look at a prior high at 81s. I own PANW and I own CrowdStrike. I'm a dip buyer now in CIBR, the ETF. I just like it over hack because it holds more of those two as opposed to some other. It's just the two stocks I like the most are bigger constituents in it. So that's the ETF that I want to be buying on the dips. But like anything else, just because it's up doesn't mean on earnings doesn't mean I wouldn't give it the old 2 or 3 day rule. I still wait to see it settle down after earnings when I'm looking at the long term, up or down. I think that applies to myself for absolutely both. And am seeing in the chat, people are asking about AMD here. AMD's moving around after market? I didn't see anything. I don't know if you did. No, AMD's not really moving around.
I'm not seeing anything either.
No news on AMD whatsoever. But also worth mentioning, because I saw someone in the chat say this as well. Palo Alto goes up. I think maybe not a gigantic surprise, but CrowdStrike also breaking out. Not nearly as big of a move, but on sympathy, it's going to be up a point, and that makes a heck of a lot of sense. And rising tide tends to lift all ships. It's not going to go up double digits or anything on those numbers, but CrowdStrike getting a nice little bump.
Yeah, honestly, like of these two so far for tomorrow, the one I'd probably play would actually be CrowdStrike as a long right now because it's breaking out of a downtrend from those all-time highs. That would be, or not, I don't think all-time highs, I think from their lower high, I believe. But either way, CrowdStrike's probably the one actually still from downtown all-time highs. Either way, CrowdStrike's weak, it's breaking out of the downtrend, that's probably the one I would play as a long. Now, I will say as well here, CrowdStrike and Snowflake both reporting next week. Those are like my favorite to trade in this cybersecurity space. CrowdStrike is actually like statistically one of my better earnings day one stocks, so that's going to be what I'm watching more. That being said, Palo Alto can still give you moves if you are someone who enjoys spready tickers. If you're not, probably still one you can trade, but maybe you want to play a sympathy play like Fortinet. I'm not telling people not to trade these.
Zscaler too.
Yeah, Zscaler is also spready though.
Yeah, well, it's like
right?
for you.
For me, yeah, that's fair. I'm saying for like people who don't want spread, there's not a lot of like non-spread options in the cybersecurity space, but maybe Fortinet. But you are right, Neil. Zscaler is a name that I'm actually, full disclosure, actually involved with on a larger capacity as well.
You have it in your...
Yeah. So
nice.
That's
Dude,
nice.
Zscaler is the best of the... well, I don't know if it's still, but
it was at one
this
point.
year. I'm pretty sure for most of this year, it was the #1 cybersecurity performing cybersecurity stock. Which that matters. Zscaler's had a fantastic year, pulling back a little bit as we speak. But we do have our good friend coming on in here, and we didn't get a chance, unfortunately, this morning to get the NOS boss, and we're making up for it. We've got our good friend, the NOS boss, with Michael Noss, our good friend. And, there he is.
Hey,
Welcome, Michael.
how's it going?
Apologies this morning. We had some technical difficulties, but glad to have you on. I hope your weekend was fantastic and the trading day so far has treated you well.
It's been great. I've been actually spending the most time. We have an excavator at our house doing some work, so my 3-year-old boy is just losing his mind. So we spent probably half the day just watching that. That poor guy just trying to do his job, and he's hanging over the deck just staring at him.
Isn't that the coolest thing, though? That's the best part about having kids. Is like seeing it through their eyes, just the curiosity and the joy of like new things or something so simple. It's like to be able to have that same reaction genuinely, because you don't get that same thing when you're a kid, but living it through them is amazing. We do get to live through an awesome market, right? I mean, so many great opportunities out there, although, and I wanted to start with this. We've talked a lot about crypto, and not to put you on the spot, but we've talked a lot about crypto. That was a decent double top there on Bitcoin, pulling back, and ETH also making a bit of a pullback. Just give me your thoughts on what you think might be next after kind of a clear double top and some weakness, and then some of the recent IPOs and treasury names had a rough day as well.
I'm really just kind of thinking range bound here. I've got this kind of drawn out where crypto does this. We all remember the crazy moves in Bitcoin because it has made crazy moves. I think a lot of those crazy moves are probably over with, and that's probably a chat for another time. But we have these kind of sideways choppy actions. So before we went from 110 to 125, we spent months hanging out in this area. And before we broke out of that zone, we had a big zone right here and a big zone right here. So crypto just seems to do this where it kind of makes a big move that gets everybody excited and then does absolutely nothing for an incredibly long period of time and then makes another move. So I'm to the point now where mostly how I trade crypto is I just put stop limit orders above current price. So at this instance, we've got like 124. I've got an order out around there. And if we break there, great. If not, whatever. But I'm not reading too much into it, just while we kind of remain in this range. We did a perfect test when we broke out last time. So as long as we're above this low right here, I'm just really not too worried and not too interested, because you've got to not pay attention when things are not moving.
Yeah, and on that daily, I've been as a believer, like, those prior levels, like I was only ever buying at those two. Like on the way down, I only bought like the low 90s, and then I only bought the mid 70s. Yeah. And I feel like on this way back in, okay, well, prove to me that we're holding that prior high in the 110 to 112 range. And if that's not proven, then I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for those low 90s again to be a dip buyer. But so this morning we didn't have a chance to get you on this morning, and I know you always put a lot of effort into what your themes are and what you're thinking. But I want to make sure we gave you an opportunity to at least run down some of what you're looking at this week.
Yeah, the primary thing that I had here, and I'm just bringing up the report here, was the commitment of traders data. And this isn't something, I know I've been talking about this a whole lot recently, but it's not because I think there's some magic here or anything like that. It's just that it's very interesting right now so this is the S&P 500, and they've actually shorted more in last week, which was just crazy to me. And same with the Russell, and that's mainly what I'm looking at. I guess we can just grab the actual charts here. So yeah, if you go to the ES, we're looking here at the red line, and the red line is just how much the large institutions are short. And they shorted into this run to all-time highs last week. And if we do the same thing with the RTY, which is the Russell 2000 ETF, they've shorted more, even though we're not at all-time highs on the Russell, but we had that big spike yesterday. So this trade of being long large cap tech, which is what they've been doing, again, the red line's going higher. So they've essentially been buying large cap tech, and they've been shorting small caps, and they've been shorting even the ES. So basically trying to get exposure to healthcare and finance that way. Short. That trade hasn't been working recently because we've had this move in the IWM and we've had this move in the S&P 500. And at some point, what's going to happen is the people who are taking this trade, this long, large cap tech, short, everything else, they're going to have to unwind. And we saw that today with the Qs down and the SPY down, but we had the IWM up today. And when that happens, I feel like there's some sort of hedge fund explosion on the horizon, because if I am invested in you and you're long large cap tech, but you're short a bunch of stuff against it, you are just going to be underperforming in general. And if those people start to take their money back and redeem, that those funds have to unwind this trade. And that would basically mean a pullback in large cap tech or the Qs and a relative outperformance in the SPY and IWM. So to me, I feel like it's coming. I'm just shocked every week when this new traders data comes in and they're putting on the gas on the short. They're not unwinding the short. To me, it's just crazy. I think it all kind of ends with one big crazy day. I don't know when that's going to come, and it may never, but to me, it feels like something's kind of bubbling out under the hood where these guys have just been so wrong for so long. It's just crazy.
Like, to me, you're shorting the Russell. Like, that just means you're leaning into this. Maybe we don't get the rate cut. But even when we had the hot PPI number, like, the worst that we went to was, I think the lowest number I saw after the PPI number, I think, was 82% chance of a cut. And then we bounced a little bit. So it's almost like if that had gone from the 99.8% that it was at, and then we get the PPI, and it went to 20%. Then I could understand why you'd be like, oh, well, this, Russell's going to pull back. Like, the money markets tend to be right about these things, and this is what's going to happen. But this is even going against what seems to be the consensus, at least what the money is telling you with rates. So I'm kind of with you on that one. And that said, there's the other side of the coin. It's just I've been wanting to take a breakout in IWM for quite some time. And of course, this happening would give you that breakout, unfortunately. Now, to go another step from this, if this were to unwind and you had that big day that you were talking about, sure, we can look at the IWM. But I know how you think, Michael. What are you really looking at under the hood if this day were to happen?
I think regional banks, and there's what DPST is an interesting ETF. It's 3 times regional banks if you want to get really spicy with it. And both regional banks and biotechs, or you could call it small healthcare, that makes up a large majority of the IWM. Those are small companies, which are probably going to be small companies forever, but they're not junk, right? A regional bank's not a junk company. It's going to make money, assuming it doesn't go bankrupt like some of those did. But these are still incredibly beaten down. You can see it in the KRE. Just nowhere near their highs, and again, had that explosion when a lot of these started to go under. So I would be interested to see if this kind of reclaims the zone and we start to push higher. And how I would express that is probably the DPST, so deposit. And it's 3 times regional banks, which if this got back to prior highs at all, that's nearly a double. And to do something on something so safe, I guess, as regional banks, that to me is just super interesting. So again, this is kind of more of a feeling, but this isn't new. It's not like they've just started shorting, and I can show you here. They've been shorting. They got net short in this area on the ES. So yeah, they had a great, 10-20% move from there, but they didn't cover, and they shorted more, and they've been shorting more on the way up. So this unwind, if it is going to happen in a single day or even in a week, I could see it take a couple weeks, it's going to be incredibly explosive because we have a short of 192,000 contracts net short. So it's going to take a while to undo. So I think you're going to get a little bit of a chance to see it and a little bit of a chance to play it. And yeah, for me, I'm thinking DPST might be a way to do it. Also, some of these small biotech, so you take XBI, that's interesting to me because this top line is the anchored VWAP from all-time high, and we're popping our head up against that. And I think that's LABBU is the 3 times biotech. So I'm eyeing some of these ETFs because when you're talking about the Russell 2000, that's 2,000 stocks. That's a lot to find a couple gems. Right. So I might just take the sectors of it, which again, regional banks, biotechs, and then just leverage those up with these 3 times leverage ETFs.
Well, I like it because Sean and I were talking about the biotechs. Catching a little bit of bid and reversing some trend as well. And I think there's a lot of individual names, and it is hard to parse through. Kudos to anyone that actually knows about some of these names that would have particular catalysts, which might give you more juice, but otherwise playing the right ETF. And as we always say, I say this every time we talk about leverage ETFs. Remember, everybody, if you're engaging with leverage ETFs, They are for short-term trading. Decay will kick your butt down the line, and an easy way to see that is just look at it versus the underlying and why it doesn't go one-to-one. So I always want to get that caveat out there because I think the thought's great. I think it's not just about having the idea of what you think might happen. It's how you want to express the trade is the other side of it. That's what we appreciate with you so much, Sir Michael. I know probably we could cover a million other things. I know you were talking about breakout trades on the old X. And there's a name that I wasn't that familiar with, and not to put you on the spot there. But, well, we're supposed to say Zed, but ZD, for all of our American viewers, I know was a name you were talking about. And what I like about it and why I wanted to bring this up, and it's sort of obvious here, we always get so many people asking us about things at the bottom. And so when you're talking about something as a breakout, this is something which looks like it's bottoming, and your thoughts on it will be welcome because we get questions every single day about buying things in downward trends and how to pick a bottom.
Yeah, so this actually came from one of the momentum systems we have over at Stats Edge. And the reason I liked it, so first of all, just the premise behind the momentum system is pretty simple. You have an upward thrust, right? This thing went from 28 to 30, so it moved like 30 cents or 30% up in a straight line. Then it spent about a week just consolidating and doing nothing. And that's what the system looks for. Again, the system's right. It's right 48% of the time. So it's less than a 50-50 win rate, but it's got about a 3-to-1 risk reward ratio. So over time, trading momentum and trading breakouts work. You just have to know that there's no momentum system that I found, no trend following system I found that really gets too high over 50-50 win rate. So just full disclosure there. But the reason I picked this one to share as opposed to some of the other ones that triggered is just exactly what you saw there, Neil, with this low base. And this low base is something that I have been trading a whole bunch this year, and it's been working out well. The example I like to use, and full disclosure, I'm still in this one, is this outlet. And I watched this one because I gave them a bunch of money. They make heart rate monitor socks for babies, and I bought 2 in the length of time that this company's been doing this because I've had 2 kids since then. And to me, when a company hits a low like that, the V bottoms happen, but they're more rare. And it's just been, again, consolidating sideways for a long period of time. So this is where companies, in my opinion, have very interesting bottoms because I think, and what a lot of people think happening when it's hitting a low like this and just not going anywhere, is you have value investors and people like that who said, okay, this outlet company at 150, that was crazy. But at $4, right, they start to think maybe this is a good investment. And these people don't buy momentum or buy breakouts. They just put in a bid roughly around an area. And you can see it spent years there and then just broke out. And again, it's been a great trade so far. And the same kind of thing with ZD, although not really that long, from about April, it just stopped going down. If you scroll out on this one, it had been going down for some time, from 136 down to $37, but then it just stops going down. So when I see patterns like this, in my head, I'm just thinking there's some value investing fund or something that has looked at it and said at 130, this thing's crazy. At 37, this is like a value investment, a turnaround story. But then as traders, right, the system waits for a momentum shift. So we get that big momentum thrust off of earnings, a nice sideways consolidation to play off, and then we took the breakout today to hopefully continue. And our hope is that whoever this guy was is right, and he's done all of his math about why this thing is a good value at that price, and then we get a nice little trend. Maybe not all the way back to 137, just why this outlet, I don't think it's ever getting back to 150, but if I can just get a little bit of a retracement on, say, this one to 21, or even ZD, if I can get up into the 40s or the 50s on a percentage gain, that's great. And I have this low to lean on. If we lose this low, then I'm definitely wrong or early, and I just have to get out and move on. So it's a way to play the people who actually do the research on these companies and find fair value in the balance sheet, which we all know that I'll never be that guy. I'll never do that. So I just use the chart to play off them.
And that's what it's all about. And I love, and I want to repeat something you said there, 48% win rate, but a positive strategy. A lot of time, everyone's so caught up in like, you got to be right 89% of the time. I've been trading a long time. That is not how it works. It is flat out not how it works, being like, oh, I'm 10 for 10. Or no, it is only about how much it costs you when you lose versus how much you win. And that's what matters in trading. The winning percentage, I've never seen anybody over any course of time where their winning percentage is the thing that matters overall. It has so much more to do with okay, well, how much does it cost you when you lose and how much you can get out of it when it does win. So I think it's a great look there. And Michael, thank you so much for always pointing that and having an entire process for people to dig through. And that's why we love you. And certainly everyone check out Michael at StatchEdge as well. So again, Michael, sorry about the issues in the morning, but I'm glad we got to get through some of your ideas. And of course, best of luck in your trading the rest of the week for sure. And of course, with the work you get around the house. I think that's the cutest story. Hopefully, maybe you should get one of those. There's a YouTube channel I saw over the weekend where there's these remote control like diggers and trailer trucks, and it's like but high-end stuff. And literally, wealthy people will go there to play with them. It's not kids; it's literally for adults, and they have conventions for this stuff. So maybe one day, you get something really nice as a gift, because you can pay like thousands of dollars for these things.
Well, maybe we'll visit one of those. We may be bringing him down to Toronto because he's also obsessed with planes, and I'm coming down there in September. So maybe we'll see. I don't know how he would do on a plane. He's 3 years old, so he's a 3-year-old boy. So he's wild.
Well, look. I hope we get to meet him. Certainly, the first plane trip. You know what? It goes how it goes. Sometimes it's not the best, but you always have to sort of at some point just get over that hump. And we look forward and hopefully get a chance to meet for sure. But thank you so much again, Michael. Have a great week. Pleasure always talking to you.
I love being here, and I'll talk to you guys on Friday.
All right, take care, brother.
See ya.
Thank you, Michael.
Oh, I love it. And kids are the best. I won't lie. The first time my daughter flew was, let's just say, when she got sick, I didn't even feel comfortable with the flight attendants cleaning the seat. I literally cleaned the seat myself.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, I cannot have another human being cleaning what I'm looking at. I'm like, I'm just gonna do it myself because it's not even right for you to have to clean this. This is my child. So, anyways, but before we get out of here and we get to some roll call, maybe we can just go over, because Palo Alto's pulled back a little bit here. We did get to 190. It's pulling back into 184. Still up 4.5%, but it couldn't go more than the expected move, just under 8% there. But we did get a top and bottom line beat, but a little bit of a pullback.
Yeah, I still want to address, someone was asking about API earnings. They're not supposed to come out until 6, and unfortunately I do not have them, so I'm likely not going to be able to give those to you. We had someone else asking about OPRA earnings. They report tomorrow morning. So maybe if they make a big enough move, they will be on the watch list. No promises, because I do based on, if there is volume, but potentially that could be covered there. Either way, let's talk about Palo Alto Networks. This is a great report across the board. Though it's funny, you mentioned that 187. I had charted that myself, and I literally wrote in my notes, watch 187. Like I think within a minute of, right before you said that I had done that, and you said 87, I was like, but anyways,
we like the same levels.
Guys. Keep an eye on that one. That is for sure. We did get a little bit above it, but knocked back down. It's also worth noting I have some earnings anchored VWAPs around there too, so it could be a level. Let's talk about the numbers. 95 cents per share here. Adjusted earnings beating estimates of 88 cents. Sales 2.536 billion versus 2.502 billion expected, and they had better than expected Q1 EPS and sales guidance, and they had better than expected fiscal 2026 EPS and sales guidance. Really quickly, if we don't mind, I know we're a little bit delayed. I just want to address, we had a super chat here. I don't know if you guys got to. It was right before. Oh, there's a couple here. David Treziak with a $10 super chat. PANW calls, killed it. Anyone else seeing Nos thinking Tim and Eric, awesome show, dark and massive meme video, LOL. I don't know this reference, but thank you for the super chat. There was another one as well that I saw, Trader Gibby on X with the $5 super chat. How do you go about sizing up? I have over a year plus track record of getting a few 100+% gains a week. Only trade $100 to $200, so money-wise, I guess dollar-wise, it's not much. I mean, I think I don't know if you're doing intraday or swing, but one thing I will say from my experience, I don't know how helpful this is going to be because it's just intraday perspective, but I don't really want to add much unless I'm already kind of at break even-ish, right? And then also I want to make sure I'm not adding more than one risk unit, like more than what I already have, right? Because you want to make sure you're not blowing out your risk, and it depends on what you trade too. Yeah. Like with what I trade with spread, you're already sometimes with slippage, you're going to lose over $1 more than you intend to. So if you have more size than that, that just automatically increases your losses. So be aware of what you're trading. liquidity and how what you're trading moves, and then I just make a plan that you're comfortable with risk-wise. I don't know how helpful that is, but that's mine.
Yeah, and if you're retail, just a lot of times what you want to do, once you have a winning strategy, first of all, only leverage up on winning strategies, not across the board. It doesn't matter that you make money. It's what you make money on and leverage those things. But if you do have that, I find give yourself a target that you have to build a bankroll to before you go up 20%. And then it's binary. You're like, I need to make this much to risk this much more. And then once you hit that metric on a consistent strategy, you go 20% more on that strategy and they at least do it for a period of like a month or two. Because you can't just go risk on or risk up for a day or two. Because if you take a hit, it'll be bigger, and then you size down, and then you start winning again. That does not work. So I hope that helps. And please don't hesitate to ask more, so we can get into we can go in more depth tomorrow about that if we need to. So I think it's a fantastic question. And if you're asking questions in the chat, it means you're in the chat. And if you're in the chat, then it's time for roll call. And if you're not in the chat, then you need to be in the chat so you can be in roll call. And to do that, hit the subscribe right now so you can jump on in there, and Derek can go buck wild on this chat, which is about to go ham as everyone thanks our entire team. Give a big shout out to Fabian, Ramin, Andre, had some issues in the morning, and now they're all settled. Shout out to Brendo. Shout out to Obi filling in, of course, for Joe. Hopefully he can get back even though Canada's on strike. Shout out to Sharif, to Sean, like I said, Brendo, and Adara, of course, as well. And give a big thank you to Michael Loss, a fantastic guest. And give a thank and a pat on the back to yourselves being the best community out there. Let's get some roll call.
Yeah, thank you all for the support here. Let's go to Joe Schmo saying that we're apparently his favorite pair. I mean, I think everyone here in the team is so awesome, but thank you very much for the kind words. Roy Griffin, Crypto FOMO, Grandpa Trades, Ms. Rookie Man. We've got Melendez Films, Neil, TTV, Notorious Dinkelberg, Baron Kia, Oliver, Fat Figa, Marks 4400, Grandpa Trades, Jaguar, Stevenson Etienne, Big Joel, Wen Pump, Wen Moon, Skunk Funker, Derek Thompson, Grov, Byron Hart here, Chuck of All Trades, Stevenson Etienne again, Alexa Bliss. We've got Daniel B, Anurag, Wen Pump again, Danny's Boys, Stephen L, Byron Hart, and we're going to thank our whole team again. Neil, we have Sean, Sharif, Joe will be back tomorrow. We had Obi today killing it. We have Fabian, Ramin, Andre, and of course Brendan, and our construction team, and Randy and Rob, and everyone here. We thank you all for being with us here. I will be gone on Wednesday, as mentioned. I will be here tomorrow. And guys, I've already started preparing infographics, so you will still be getting a steady stream of content while I am away. Because that is what we do. So good times there. Definitely check that out on X at TTV Research, and check us out here tomorrow on YouTube.
It takes two of us to fill in for Adara on the watch list in the morning. I have to copy that.
I appreciate you guys.
Literally, Sharif and I have both do it just to make sure we get it done. The two of us to replace her in the morning. But we always do our best because that's what the team is. The next man up or woman, whoever it might be, we'll make sure we get you all the information, all the trades, all the action live, and we'll do it again tomorrow morning, post Palo Alto earnings, 8:30. We'll see you guys. It's Trader TV Live. See you tomorrow.